feel like sometimes I'm out of control. So I'm gonna get wasted with all my country heroes. And I'm drinking some George Jones and a little bit of coke. Haggerty's in my misery, and Waylon's keeping me from home. Hank's giving me those high tides, Cash is gonna sing it low. And I'm here getting wasted, just like my country hero. Yeah, I'm drinking that whiskey out of that glass. And if that ain't country, well, boys, you can kiss my ass. 'Cause I wanna hear them old songs, nothing of the new. 'Cause this might be the last time I'm gonna see you. So I'm drinking some George Jones and a little bit of coke. Haggerty's in my misery, and Waylon's keeping me from home. Hank's giving me those high tides, Cash is gonna sing it low. And I'm here getting wasted, just like my country hero. Getting wasted with all my country hero. I'm getting wasted with all my country hero.
Hey, what's up, weirdos? It's Mark Splude, and this is episode 78 of the SPLUDECAST. My guest this week, hot, new, rookie, on the St. John scene, Chris Hovey. Oh, boy, I gotta be honest. I thought it was about time. I mean, listen, Chris has been on this scene now for, 8 or 9 months. He came through Kenny's course, Stand and Deliver. I thought it was about time to get him on the SPLUDECAST. Now, I will admit I was a little nervous having Chris on. First of all, I wasn't sure if he was going to bring 20 fucking people with him to this podcast. But mostly, I was a little concerned because I heard him, he was on an episode of the St. John Ford podcast, or St. John Ford radio show, I guess. It is a podcast. And, man, that podcast was a bit of a stinker. It was a bit of a stinker. I can't lie. And so I was a little bit nervous. I didn't know if we'd have a flowing conversation, if I was going to have to, just rifle questions at him, interview style. I didn't know how it was going to go. I obviously prefer the former. I don't want to be, shooting questions at people. Oh, yeah, and what's your favorite color? Just not really, I'm not in this to interview people. I just want to sit down and chat and get to know these guys. But anyways, the thing with Chris Hovey is I maybe have spoken maybe 30 words between us before this podcast. And it was a treat, man, to sit down and talk to Chris. Really super nice guy. And I love his approach to the craft, and you'll hear all about that in the podcast. I won't beat it to death. But anyway, great to have him on. He's having a hot start in comedy, and he's finally made his way to the SPLUDECAST. So there you have it. Now, what's been going on with me lately? Well, shit, Friday night, I just did an hour at the St. John Arts Center, headlined the show. I'm not sure if I did an hour. To be honest, it felt more like around 45 minutes or so. I did forget a decent chunk, probably about a 7 or 8 minute chunk. So yeah, it was probably around 45 minutes, something like that. Man, what a fun fucking night that was. Anytime I get a comedy show on a Friday night, it's hard for me to get excited for it because, you know, I got to work Friday. But this time I took off a little bit early. Well, here's what happened. I was trying to get off at noon, you know, but I had to go to Fredericton for my job first thing Friday morning. I put this set together on a Thursday night. Listen, I'm doing an hour. It's not like I'm coming out doing an hour of brand new stuff. All right. So, you know, a lot of the stuff is, you know, stuff I repeated when I headlined the Vogue Theater, when I headlined St. George, you know, stuff like that. If I'm doing a long set like that, you got to dip into the bag of tricks. But anyway, what I didn't want to do is get into anything from, you know, way back, right? I didn't want to get into anything from like 2015, anything like that. So I sat down Thursday night trying to figure out what I was going to do for this show. And I realized that, you know, in 2017, before I got into writing this feminist stuff and stuff like that, I came up with 3 or 4 different bits early on in the year last year that I actually only did once. And hardly anybody had ever seen these bits. So when I sat down Thursday night, I went through those bits, cherry-picked my favorite pieces of those, and slapped them all together, found a way to make them fit with the other bits I was going to do for this long set, you know. And I figured, well, I'll get off at noon, and I'll have lots of time to, you know, commit this to memory and, you know, make sure I know this stuff going into this show. Well, it turns out I didn't get home till about 4 o'clock Friday afternoon, leaving me, you know, basically 2.5 hours before showtime. I mean, I got to have a shower and get ready. So I had about 2 hours to familiarize myself with this material, and it just wasn't happening, man. My head was still spinning from the day of work. I couldn't relax and settle into it. So what I ended up doing was axing that stuff, taking it out of there, and putting in some older stuff that I was, you know, real comfortable with. I didn't really have to even think about that chunk of the performance. So that's what ended up happening. And it's actually kind of fortunate because now down the road I can bring those other bits out and it'll be just like brand new bits, you know. So I still got that in my back pocket, and I'm working on some new stuff that I'm real fucking happy with right now. So yeah, the next part of this year should be pretty easy for me as far as, you know, coming up with new material. Anyway, this show, great show, man. Now, I am a little disappointed in the ticket sales. It would have been nice to see that place packed out. It wasn't packed out. There was a good turnout. Certainly not disappointed. And the crowd that did show up was fan-fucking-tastic. Very few comics showed up. Thanks for that, boys. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, little disappointed. You know, I'll have to admit that I was a little disappointed not to see a lot more comics out to that show. But hey, man, it's like I said when I was going to the gym back in the day. You can only bring yourself, you know, and I don't get too uptight about it. Wifey was in my ear later going, hey, how come this person wasn't there? How come this person? And here's what I said to her, man. I don't get too disappointed about things like that because I do not hold people to a high expectation. All right? I mean, you want to stay happy in life? Lower your fucking expectations, okay? If I expected all these people to come out, and they didn't show up, I would have been upset. I didn't expect anyone to come out. I was hoping people would come out. I was hoping all the comics would come out, you know, and celebrate a night of comedy. But I certainly didn't expect it, so I wasn't let down too much. Listen, people are fucking fickle. People are busy. Sometimes people are jealous. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why comics wouldn't show up to that show. And I understand it. Man, I understand. I'm not judging anybody for it. I'm not mad at anybody about it. But I am just a little bit disappointed. That's neither here nor there because we had a great fucking night at the Art Center. Man, that is a fun venue. I wasn't sure going into this venue. I'd never done it before. I saw St. John do it when he did Honey Garlic there at the Fundy Fringe Festival. It seemed like a great venue then. I went to see Matt do his album recording there. And it was a fucking great venue then. So I was, you know, looking forward to it, but a little trepidatious because it's a small stage. It's a very reserved room, like very intimate kind of quiet room. I mean, that place is like a fucking library until someone grabs the mic and starts telling fucking dick jokes. You know, it's a little off-putting at first until the show starts. Anyway, RF kicked off the show. Obviously, he hosted the show, did just a fucking dynamite job, played with the crowd. Got his material over, man. Great fucking job. Matt Keenan got up, tried a whole bunch of new shit. It was fucking fantastic. Ben McDonald did a great job, man. I'm really starting to enjoy Ben's storyteller style. It's really, it's catching on with me. Big time, man. I love to see Ben. That was the first time I'd seen Ben perform, I think, since the summer, other than the roast, which was also in the summer. So I'm not too fucking bright. And then I took the stage, man, and the second I did, I fell in love with that venue, fell in love with the fucking crowd. They dug everything I was fucking doing, man. I hit it out of the park, man. I'm very happy with my result from that show, from that room. Real happy about it. Just overall happy about the show. It was a great hang with my friends and a great fucking comedy show. Big thank you to Matt Keenan for booking me on that, and for the rest of the comics on it for being awesome. And huge thank you to Ian Esty, man. Ian Esty came out and filmed that whole deal for me, snapped a bunch of pictures during the performance as well. Huge shout out to Ian Esty. And Ian, also thank you for allowing your girlfriend to be my hooker on Sunday. That's another story we're going to get to in a minute. Greatly appreciate all of that, Ian. Great fucking dude. Oh man, it really was a great Friday night in comedy. What happened Saturday? What went on Saturday? Not really much to report Saturday. Sunday though, man, here we go. We're filming season 2 of Hard Times in the Maritimes. Man, I gotta tell you, did we have a fucking blast filming on Sunday. Started off with Matt Keenan and I were in a scene. Matt's a homeless guy. I'm not going to ruin the scene, but we had quite a time. We were filming live on location at fucking Waterloo Street. I was down there hunting for hookers and ran into a homeless guy, and he gave me some sage advice. Anyway, great shooting those fucking scenes down there. Shot another one down there with Jim Hovey as a drunken Santa Claus. Man, just a great time. And then we went over to Ian's, and that wasn't going to happen, man. We were going to have to cancel the shot we were going to do, the scene we were going to do at Ian's, because we couldn't find any hookers. You know, my character on the show, in case you haven't seen it, and if you haven't, go to YouTube, type in Hard Times in the Maritimes Welfare Day, and check this series out, man. Season 1 is in progress right now. We're about to release episode 5 of season 1 will be released on Welfare Day, March 1st. And then, of course, the season finale is going to be April 1st, April Fool's Day, also Welfare Day, to wrap that season. Very happy with the first season. Not entirely happy with my acting, so I really worked hard Sunday refining my acting, really trying to get into my character and stretch my range out a little bit. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's the fucking technical stuff for me. Anyway, how many times have I said anyway so far? You guys do a count and fucking send me an email. All right? I want to hear from you. The SPLUDECAST@gmail.com. Even just reach out and say hi. I like getting the emails. It's nice. That email box, man, fucking fills up all the time. Thanks, everybody, for all the emails you send. I don't respond to all of them, but lately I've been responding to almost all of them. And I feel pretty good about that, man. I've been taking my time getting back to the listeners. Reach out, say hi, tell me where you're at and why the fuck you're listening. Anyway, there's another one for your account. But hey, we were going to have to cancel because we could not find a hooker. And Ian's girlfriend, Tanya, stepped up and said, I'll be your fucking hooker. And she got all dolled up like a hooker. And we did a real fucking funny scene, man. Maybe my favorite scene to film so far in Hard Times. I don't know, man. We've had a lot of great moments. But that was so far in season 2. I think that might be my favorite scene so far. Season 2 is going to be a lot of fucking fun, man. Matt Copeland, the creator and head writer of Hard Times, coming up with some fucking great ideas for season 2. And we got some surprises, man. We got some, it's going to be a star-studded season, season 2. Stick around for news on that. Yeah, man, I didn't make it out to the R-Bar on Saturday night, unfortunately. I heard it was a good show. I heard it was a bit of a weird show. But, yeah, I wasn't able to make it out. Well, I guess I'm not going to tell you why. Anyway, man, it was family day here in New Brunswick on Monday. It was a long weekend. Man, did I have a fucking great day. You know, woke up Monday morning, wifey and I laid in bed and watched Crashing. Hey, big shout out to Matt Connell for telling me about this show Crashing on HBO. If you haven't seen it, fucking check it out. It's, you know, if you're a comic, you'll certainly be interested in it. Kind of tells the story of a guy in New York, you know, trying to start out in comedy. Real fun show. Star-studded. You know, Artie Lang, Bill Burr makes an appearance, Sarah Silverman, Dave Attell is in this fucking thing. I mean, it's tremendous. It's one of my favorite fucking shows now. Anyway, wifey and I watched a couple episodes before we even fucking moved on Monday. And then I hung out with my boy, watched a movie with him. And then he and I loaded up the fucking four-wheeler and went out in the woods and took a big fucking burn. Man, it was a great family day. No complaints. No complaints here from the Splude household. We're getting ready to move. We're moving to an awesome house. Can't wait for it. Hey, I just want to give a shout out. If you guys aren't already listening to St. John Ford Radio, definitely check that out. It's a great comedy podcast from St. John here. Also, please check out Fun with S&M. It's a new podcast with Matt Keenan and Sam Laidman, and it's fucking great, man. It's a great podcast. I love what these two guys are doing. Matt and Sam have great fucking chemistry. Sam seems to be the only one that can drag a great conversation out of Matt Keenan. He's got magic powers. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But anyway, check out those two podcasts. Show those boys some love. They certainly deserve it. They're working hard on both of those podcasts. Check it out, man. That's all I can plug. Hey, if you're a comic in this area and I haven't given your podcast a plug, send me a message. I'll check it out. And if I think it's plug worthy, you know, I'll fucking plug it for you. I know a lot of people have started podcasts in this area and they've fallen off for whatever reason. Only the strong survive, I guess, is the key there. Anyway. Yeah, that was so much fucking fun on Friday night. Hey, coming up this weekend, St. John Ford, RF Hussein, and I are heading to Moncton. We're going to do that Hell's Kitchen or Hell's Basement, whatever the fuck it's called. Some secret venue. You need a fucking code to get in, and it's a secret location. It's kind of fucking wacky, man. I know the boys went up for an initial show a couple weeks ago, and it was a bit of a shit show. I'm looking forward to it. I guess the owner has worked out a lot of the bugs. We worked out a decent deal for us to go up there and put on a show, and for you know, all of us to be happy monetarily and shit like that. So, really looking forward to going up there, man. You know, Moncton is a weird fucking town to do comedy in, and I said to myself after the last time, I said, I'm not going back, man. I'm not going back to Moncton. It's hard to get a good comedy show. People don't give a shit about comedy up there. Even when it's a paid gig, you know, even if you're charging people tickets at the door up there, which is kind of rare, people still talk through everybody's fucking set. No one fucking polices the talking up there. It's a shit show, man. I don't really like doing comedy in Moncton, if I'm being completely honest. I know they had a Yucks there a while ago, and it only ran for, I think, under 2 years, and it failed up there. It's just a weird fucking place for comedy, man. I'm not sure comedy gets the respect it deserves in Moncton, and the only reason I'm going back is because, you know, I'm happy with the monetary situation. I want to help this guy get his fucking room off the ground. He seems dedicated to doing comedy there on a regular basis at this new venue, which is very cool, man. So I'm going to go up and support that and see if we can breathe some more life back into the Moncton comedy scene. I mean, I know they do the Hubcap Comedy Festival up there, man, but I've seen a few videos from that festival. Man, you can hardly hear, just from the videos, you can hardly hear what the comic is saying because there's so many conversations going on there. I mean, I did a show at the Igloo in 2016. I think that was the last time I was there. Now, listen, this show went fucking great for me. I closed it out and I did really well, man. I had, man, did I have some instant feedback from that show afterwards. But here's just an idea of what they fucking do in Moncton, okay? So they're booking this show. This comedy show at the time was happening at the Igloo. Marty D was putting it on. I think Marcel Richard was involved in it a little bit too. They were booking shows every 2 weeks at the Igloo. Anyway, the night I went up there, here's this comedy show, and there's about fucking 12 or 13 comics on it, and I'm closing it out. But at the same venue, at the same time that the comedy show is going on, there's some local NHL hero, and he's got the Stanley Cup in fucking town to, take pictures and sign autographs. I mean, how in the fuck can you compete in a hockey town like Moncton is? How can you compete with the fucking Stanley Cup telling, stupid fucking jokes on stage? I mean, but that's on the venue, right? Why would you book this on the same fucking night? Anyway, that night turned out to be a lot of fun. Scott Campagna actually, he fucking killed me, man, because first of all, he got up there and started crushing immediately. Started ripping the crowd apart for talking and actually called over the hockey player, this NHL player that was there at the Cup, got him up on stage, tell a joke, brought the crowd right around, man. Scott did a masterful fucking job that night. That was my favorite Scott Campagna set that I've ever seen. Absolutely fucking loved it, man. Just the, man, he was so aggressive. Scott had this anger this night, but it was, comedic anger, but it was, it fucking popped me, man. I really enjoyed it, so. But yeah, that just gives you an idea. I mean, let's do a comedy show and a fucking Stanley Cup fucking pictures and autograph session at the same goddamn time in the same venue. Anyway, just wacky, man. Moncton is it's fucking wacky. Anybody who has listened to a lot of these episodes has probably heard me tell the story of Wise Guys up there and a couple of the other shows that Marty Bourgeois was promoting up there. And yeah, shit show every single time. So, but here we go again. John Arf and I are going up there Saturday night. The Three Musketeers are hitting the road. It should be a good time, man. I'm looking forward to that show. Other than that show, nothing else in February for me. I've got Mike Dambra in March, and here's what making me real happy about that show. I am working on a bit right now. I got this idea, I was sitting around with the wife a few nights ago, and, just working some material on her, just came up with something that seems like it's going to be a fucking good bit for me. Have yet to sit down and flesh it out, obviously. My policy, I don't do that till right before the fucking show anyway. I think in this case may be a little different. I'm kicking ideas around for this one, and I may end up having it, pretty well fleshed out before that show, and I hope I do. It'll give me a chance to edit it a little bit more. Hello, darling. How are you?
Good, baby. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I love your mystery machine, baby.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Probably Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I love it.
Everyone's going, Jamie Smooth.
Yeah.
Walk by at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably will never wear off.
Yeah, no, it's already. It's already worn off for me.
For you, yeah, but I don't think the people are gonna get sick of that.
I put a 24-hour time limit on all Scooby-Doo jokes.
Right.
Rook, it's raining me in the ring too. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, that was good.
All right. Well, beat the feet. I'm talking to the people here. Talking to the people. Yeah, I think I've said all I want to say here this week. Anyway, did I forget anything? What did I forget? I hit the fucking hard times. I hit the upcoming gigs, the previous gigs. Yeah, I think that's all I got to say to you. Just, listen. I don't know. I don't even know what I was going to tell you. Just listen here. I got to tell you this. I got nothing else to tell you. Here's what I will tell you. Episode 78, Chris Hovey, Driver India.
Can fuck off and go to hell. Goddamn, why they criticize me? Now shit is on the rise, so my family despise me. Fuck them and feed them, cause I don't need them. I won't join them if I can beat them. They don't understand my logic. I got to my money and I'm hooked on chronic. I never wanted to hurt a nigga unless it comes flexing that trigger. I dig ya. That grave on the east side of town, and you're 6 feet underground. From man to the dust to the ashes, all I remember. Tell me what the click, clack, barrel at my dome. Dip all your loot or you ain't going home. But I ain't going out with a bang. Wa-da-da-dang, wa-da-da-da-dang. I'm having illusions, all this confusion driving me mad inside. I'm having illusions, all this confusion fucking me up in my mind. I'm having illusions, all this confusion driving me mad inside. I'm having illusions, all this confusion fucking me up in my mind. Motherfuckers be driving me
Chris Hovey, first appearance on the SPLUDECAST.
Yeah.
What do you mean we have a similar outlook on comedy or approach?
I think our approach to writing material and performing material and sort of when to perform and how to perform are pretty similar. I mean, you're always writing new stuff. I'm always trying to write new stuff.
Yeah. Now, what? So you're a graduate of Ken's class.
I am, yeah.
So, talk me through the genesis of were you already coming out to shows? Did you know you were going to be a comic?
I didn't have any knowledge of the local scene at all.
Right.
Which is something we struggle with.
Yeah. Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I knew a little bit. I'd seen a few shows. I'd been to a couple at the BMO Theater and.
Oh, okay.
Some of James Mulder's.
Oh, Muggins.
Some of the boot camp.
Yeah,
some of the boot camp stuff. And I'd seen Travis Boyce a couple times.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know who someone shared it, the Facebook link to the class.
Oh, okay.
That it was happening.
Oh, right. Yeah,
and just a lifelong fan of stand-up, so I signed up before I could stop myself.
Yeah.
I figured the only way I was going to do it was to, lead myself into it.
Sure.
With something.
Force yourself into it.
Well, yeah, but,
Yeah.
Going up with at least the experience of doing the class first felt a little bit easier than just going up cold.
Just diving in, yeah.
Yeah.
So what? You had a big class too, right? I mean, I think you guys were the most successful of Ken's classes. Really.
There were 8 of us altogether,
Yeah.
and I think there's 3 or 4 of us out of the 8 that are still
performing
consistently.
now.
Yeah.
But everybody performed on that one show, right? Everybody from the class performed at least once.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was Ken's last class, so he
Yeah.
wanted to kind of go out with a bang and do a showcase at No Jokes Barred, and yeah, everyone went up at least the once.
Now let me ask you. Now that you've how long ago was that? That was early, like start of last summer.
The class started in March of last year,
Right.
And the
So when was that
show
Virgin show?
was June.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So now you've got 6 months of comedy under your belt, and I mean you've been a pretty busy guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like you've been doing a lot of fucking shows.
Yeah.
So what do you think in hindsight? What do you think you took out of that course?
The biggest thing was just being able to go in every Wednesday for 6 weeks and do essentially an open mic.
Right.
Like it was just the experience in what felt like a safe place.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ken, super experienced guy, right?
Sure.
He's been doing it forever.
Absolutely.
And he gave us a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of tips that you kind of have to learn the hard way doing it. So just even about etiquette, like, watch other people's sets, talk to the comics, show up early, don't be a pain in the ass, just don't step on other people's time, that sort of thing.
Don't be on Facebook starting dramas.
Exactly.
Did he touch on that?
No, not really.
He didn't? No. Okay.
I believe the quote unquote flyer gate happened while we were in class. He was
right.
out there passing out flyers for, I think it was No Jokes Deluxe in front of Yuck Yucks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I believe Ken was involved in the
Ken was involved in that directly.
So did he come back to the class after that and say, "Hey, this is what we did"?
Yeah,
exactly. Guerrilla marketing and all that shit.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Giving us a little bit of insight into some of the drama that was taking place.
Yeah. So did that skew your view a little of Yucks coming out of that course at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I think as popular as that venue is and those shows are, it can only help the scene as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, a rising tide, lifts all ships, but
right.
There was a bit of
and a high tide comedy festival really just sinks itself.
I did the open mic for that. It was a mess.
Oh, that's what I heard. Tell me about it.
Well, we went up there and they had done it after a show, like after another show, like a proper show.
Right.
And
what do you mean, same venue?
Yeah, same venue.
So they do a star-studded show.
So they did a star-studded show, and at the end it was, hey, by the way, if you want to catch up, some local 5 to 7 minuters, we're going to do that now if you want to stick around.
You're kidding.
And everyone just filtered out.
That's the first time. I was just kind of, setting this up, just kind of a joke for myself.
Sure.
But that's the first time hearing about that. And a lot of people, like Shane Ogden told me it was a shit show, Travis Boyce, a lot of people told me that. But you're the first guy to mention this. So there was an actual, like a real show.
Yeah.
What they would quote-unquote call a real
quote
show.
Quote-unquote real show, yeah.
Fuck, man. I'm sorry, that's a bad fucking promotion.
It was a difficult, it was a difficult spot to be in.
Well,
right?
it's like, hey, Chris Hovey's been doing comedy for 4 months, and he's going to follow Chappelle.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that they had Chappelle here.
No, but they had
in
the
some crowd's mind.
Did some bigger New Brunswick and East Coast names, right?
Yeah.
So, Brittany Campbell hosted, which, I mean, she's great. That was fine and all.
Yeah.
But, it just got messy. And by the time I was up, it was 5 to 12, I think, before I actually got on stage.
Oh,
so
Jesus
it was
Christ.
myself and the 3 other comics who hadn't yet taken their turn.
Right.
In the entire venue, like
that was
everybody
your
else
audience.
had just gone back to town. Yeah, it was rough. It was weird. It was really weird.
Yeah, that's terrible. Especially because you were only a few months in at that time, and like we talked about. We'll get into this bringer stuff.
Sure.
You're used to a bigger crowd and fucking everyone's rah Chris Hovey, and then now you're doing a show to fucking 3 comics at the only festival.
Right.
That's
and
crazy.
it's I keep hearing people say something to the effect of it doesn't matter how many people are in the room, you gotta play it like it's 1,000, right?
Sure. Tough to do when it's
That's
3
really
comics.
tough to do when it's
It's a romantic thing to say,
there's Matt and Joe and Sam, and now I have to act like they're
and they're not even good people, first of all.
Oh
so
my
that's
God.
you know what I mean. If it was
Just
any
the
3
worst.
other people,
Yeah, would have been great.
Yeah,
but
Jesus Christ, talking about being up
just
against
the worst. Unreal.
Chris, have you always been the funny guy? Like at work, around your friends, school?
Not a whole lot.
Right.
A little bit. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time trying to be the funny guy.
Right.
And that goes the wrong way for a long time before it starts to go the other way.
You were bombing before you even
Yeah.
started. Well, that's good. You get that shit behind you.
You get it out of the
before
way.
You get into
You
comedy,
get it out of the way.
Yeah.
No, kind of quiet and reserved unless I'm comfortable.
Yeah, right. So what were you doing? You were always a big fan of stand-up?
Yeah.
So like who?
The first bit I saw, I was flipping through channels and landed on the Comedy Channel and caught Russell Peters doing the bit about his white friend.
Okay, yeah.
And that opened up a lot because I hadn't really thought about, I was 9 or 10, I hadn't really thought about racial differences
Right,
up until that point. So it's kind of like, shit, like,
this is the way people think.
that's weird. And then also just realizing, this guy's just standing there talking to all these people and they're loving it, and that's his job. Like, that's weird. Like, that's cool.
Sure.
And, I watched the Just for Laughs compilation show that they do.
Sure.
I used to watch that all the time.
Everyone's watched
Comedy
those,
at Club 54.
Yeah.
That was a weird one. They used to do the shitty send-in joke at the end of the show.
Oh,
He'd read it off.
Fucking horrible host would read it off.
Yeah, with the hair and the veneers.
Thanks to Mary in New Jersey for sending that one in. Yeah,
Exactly.
man. That was a great show, though, man.
It was a great show.
They had some fucking big names on there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
When I was growing up, we had Evening at the Improv and Comedy at Caroline's.
Okay.
We're on TV, whatever fucking channel it was. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. But it was great. They were each a half hour, and they usually ran back to back. It was fucking great for me as a kid going, oh, this is terrific,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember kids would talk about the Red Green Show. That was huge when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And just like something different, right? Sketch comedy.
Sure.
Something. Yeah. So I watched that, and then
That's an underrated show, man.
It was
like
an
you say
underrated
that
show.
to a lot of people, and they'll go, "Fuck, the Red Green Show, come on." But I mean, like when I was growing up, it was Smith and Smith, right? It was Buddy and his wife,
That's right.
same guy.
Yeah.
So when Red Green came out, I'm like, "Oh, sweet, Smith is back. This is awesome." Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, and the first comic I remember other kids were into, because I was pretty much on my own, right? It's not an interest for a lot of people that age.
Yeah, that's right.
Dane Cook exploded
Yeah.
when I was in my first or second year of high school.
Right.
And I've heard, different things about him, but he was huge at the time, right?
Oh, he was massive at the time,
He was
man, and a
huge at the
huge influence to a lot of people your age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a little bit ashamed to admit it, but 2006, 2007,
Right.
Blue Collar Comedy Tours, biggest thing on the planet.
Sure. Well, Ron White was good.
Ron White, I picked up a lot from Ron White
Yeah.
about like just delivery and word choice and
Sure.
and that sort of thing. And even Bill and Jeff weren't too bad. Larry was a little bit of a
Bill,
doofus,
who is
but-
Bill? Who's Bill?
Bill Engvall. He was a Hear Your Sign.
Oh, yeah,
Hear
right.
Your Sign.
Yeah, he was okay, yeah. Larry, I don't know what the hell he was doing, man. I mean, Blair Whitney, before he got into that character, was a decent stand-up. But the money comes calling.
I remember
right?
being blown away when I found out that the accent and everything's all an act.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, well, you'll find
weird.
You'll find that in this country, too.
Yeah?
You'll see a lot
Really?
of people doing that sort of thing. Yeah. We'll talk about it off
Are
mic.
you saying James Mullinger's not actually British? Is that what
No, he is.
this is
He
the big
is.
breaking.
It's-
It's the big breaking
No,
story.
it's not old Jimmy Muggins I'm talking about, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah, well, you know what, man? Before the Red Collar or the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, I liked Jeff Foxworthy. I thought he was good. But because he only used that, you might be a redneck if every now and again, you know, wasn't his full shtick.
As soon
you
as
know?
people latched onto that, though,
Yeah.
they just beat it right to death.
And why not? I mean, you know what I mean? They're backing these truckloads of fucking money up to your door.
Sure.
What are you going to say? Nah, I don't feel like telling that joke today.
Right.
I want to try some new stuff.
But that's why those guys are gone now, right? They're not.
You can't
they're not
sustain
doing
that
new
kind
stuff.
of
No,
thing. You
absolutely
cannot
not.
sustain it.
Absolutely
you know,
not.
there has to be substance to the material or it's not going to last.
That's right.
You know, you go back and watch, you know, prior now, Eddie Murphy or you know, anybody from the 80s who are top, right?
Yep.
All that shit still holds up to this day.
Definitely.
You know, and, you know, 20 years from now, you're going to watch that Blue Collar Comedy Tour and you're going to go, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Even now, with the way, you know,
Yeah, even now.
everybody's gotten so politically sensitive and conscious about.
Oh, yeah.
They're making jokes that you wouldn't even go near.
Oh, you
now.
can't. No, you
and
can't get
no
away
one
with it
even
now.
thought about it then.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't even go near it now.
No,
right?
you can't. You can't do that shit now.
So, yeah.
Do you try to push the boundaries when you're writing?
You know, I don't, and it's not consciously.
Yeah.
I just haven't had anything come to me yet.
Right.
That I would consider pushing the boundaries. Everything that comes to me is just kind of goofy stuff. It's not
Yeah.
really boundary pushing material. I would love to say that, you know, I've got a book of stuff on women and trannies and
Right.
minorities and stuff that I'm afraid to do, but
Oh, is that right?
I just don't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't come to me.
Oh, that's interesting. So how come you don't flesh any of that stuff out?
No, I'm saying I would love to say that, but
Oh,
that's,
you would
that's-
love to say that, but
that's
it's not
the case. No.
Okay, all right. So you're not
No.
holding back.
No.
Okay, that's
I just don't have any.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can't, you know, you can't dictate what comes to you. You
No,
know,
that's right.
whatever pops in your head that's funny, and you're writing at the time, that's what you're writing. You know, I didn't always do this kind of, you know, feminist, anti-feminist stuff and transgender stuff. That was never my style before. It just so happened in, you know, 2017 in the early part. That's all that I was thinking about, and that's all that was
absolutely.
coming to me, you know. But the problem is, once that muscle starts flexing around, then I'm always looking for that now, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, if you found something that you respond to,
Yeah.
you know, and you like writing that stuff, and it's
Well,
still coming to you, then
yeah, it
why
speaks
not?
to me, right? Like, I mean, the feminist stuff pisses me off. The transgender stuff pisses me off, mostly because the thing with transgender, I don't even know why we're talking about it. Like, how often do you fucking see one? Since I stopped working at the superstore, I haven't seen a single one. You know?
It's a really small percentage of people that should just be doing what they want.
Do whatever the fuck
we
you
shouldn't
want.
all be getting wound up about it.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
That's what pisses me off. I mean, you look at all the problems in the fucking world, this is not one of them. You know?
Yeah.
Let's just open the door and say, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want. You always did anyway, really.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know? And the people who still who hated transgenders before this whole deal, they still fucking hate transgenders. It's not like the world said, you have to accept them. They all went, okay, we will. You know, they're still fucking hateful
They're not necessarily.
people.
They're not changing minds.
You're not changing anybody's fucking mind. You're just driving it down everybody else's throat and making people like me upset.
The only
know?
thing that would change somebody's mind is to meet somebody.
Right.
That's the only way you've ever
That
been able
is
to
the
change
only
somebody's
way.
mind.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your prejudice is, the only way to change somebody's mind is to meet a person that fits into that.
Absolutely. Like, I used
And-
to
and
hate
have a
Indians.
good experience
You
with
know, Matt Arif, and man, do I really hate Indians now.
I was gonna say that
it
can't.
just proved
That,
everything.
that can't have helped. God, that guy.
Ah, he's just the worst, isn't he? He is the worst.
He knows how to argue. I'll tell you, I went to No Jokes Deluxe for February, and when I left the bar, he was tearing into John. I don't remember what it was, but
Right.
he was just beating John to death about something. They were arguing over, I don't know, the Me Too movement or something that's in the news
Oh, boy.
that Arif's all wound up about.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was just pummeling him. He loves to argue.
Dude, I went out in the woods a couple weeks ago with Arif, and I guess it was last weekend, on the bikes and stuff. Anyways, as we're driving home, Arif starts picking a fight with me. I mean, he's like raising his voice. He's fucking screaming and yelling at me about my material. And we're talking about, you know, the last 2 times at the R-Bar, I did this list.
Okay.
This fuck off list. It was like fuck off with feminism, fuck off with transgenders, you know, that sort of thing. And I did it first in November, and then I did it again in January. Same, you know, idea, but all different jokes.
Right, okay.
Right. So maybe I think I borrowed. I used 2 of the same topics.
Okay.
But all new material.
Yep.
And he's screaming at me. It's all the same material. And like he's screaming at, and I'm driving, and I'm looking over. I'm like, or if you're screaming and yelling at me right now, you're not being very rude. And he's just and he fucking hates it. Drives him crazy. If you respond to him and just calmness, it gets him real worked up. It's beautiful.
You could have just left him in the woods. I mean,
I could have shot him out there.
Also
you know?
true. Yeah.
I could have shot him. He
Honey
could have
man.
shot me, though. I gave him the gun for a minute.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just for a minute, though. Can't trust those.
Can't.
You know? I don't want to. Anyway.
Playing with fire.
Oh, shit. So what's been your biggest accomplishment? Like, what's been your biggest show so far?
Well, the shows I did with Matt were pretty cool.
Right, which ones were those?
I like that a lot. His album recording.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man.
So doing a paid show and 2 shows per night, that was a different experience, right?
Yeah.
That
2 in
felt
one night?
Very professional, yeah.
Yeah.
I like 2 shows in one night.
Yeah.
You get a lot of the sort of crap out of the way after the first one.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
all the nerves and everything. You know, second time you've already done this once, like it's not so bad.
Yeah. I love doing that, man. I did, strangely, I've only done that a few times, mostly at Chuckles, back when they still had a matinee show on the Saturday and a night show. I loved it, man, because by the time, the only thing is, you know, for me, especially back in those days, it was tough because I like to drink when I do comedy.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So by the time that second show, you had to be careful you weren't too sloppy, you know? You were a little disappointed at the end of your set there at Matt's.
The first set, the crowd was a little bit cool.
Yeah, man. The crowd was very reserved.
Not a bad crowd, but a little reserved.
Yeah.
You had to really dig it out of there. They weren't just giving.
They weren't giving you the big pops for free.
And yeah, as happens every now and then, I forgot a couple lines.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have normally been an issue, but my last joke called back to a line that I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
And I just, in the moment, couldn't find my way out of it.
Yeah, and that sucks, man. When you realize that
yeah.
you didn't set up this callback and this is your big closer, that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, it was definitely brutal.
But like I told you on the night, like you still got over. You know, that was still a great set.
The set still went well overall.
Yeah. I mean, that was a great show. I wish I had been there to see the second one too, kind of, because I really enjoyed the first one, and from all accounts, second show was dynamite, right?
Yeah, well, Thane went out and he'd been sucking back white wine. He was a little bit tibby there, and he went out and the first couple things he said, he got a laugh, and we all knew that okay, this one's gonna be this is a different crowd, right?
Yeah.
These guys are.
It's later. Right?
Yeah,
those
yeah.
early shows, man, they can kill you.
Definitely.
8:00 start, 7:30 start, stuff like that. Then again, you don't want to do Hell's Basement at a 10:30 start either. That's even fucking worse.
Is that when that starts?
Yeah, that's when it started last time.
Okay.
I don't know, the guy that runs that reached out and booked me for that coming up, and I let him know like 10:30 is not an acceptable fucking start time. That is way too late, man. People are too fucking whacked. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just
by the time. I mean, for me, I'm trying to protect myself because I'm closing it out. I don't want to be closing it out at 12:30
No,
when
that's
everyone's, you know what I mean? It's already the next day and everyone's
Yeah,
still
yeah, exactly.
fucking hammered, you know? I'm not really interested in doing that, you know? But people have wacky ideas. Right?
You want people, 2-3 drinks deep. You want them to kind of. The comedy show should almost be the pregame for whatever's happening later that night.
Right.
You want them to go out afterwards, right? You don't want this to be that's late. 10:30 is late.
Yeah. I don't want to see a show end any later than 11.
Yeah.
Because people get antsy at that time, right? Oh, it's 10:30. You know what I mean? I still got to go here. I got to go there, kind of fucking deal. So you closed out the R Bar the other night. How'd that go? Tell me about that show. I wasn't able to make it out.
Yeah. Not a lot of comics made it out.
I heard Tyson was. Not a lot of comics made it out Friday night to my show either.
No.
By the way, I heard Tyson was on shrooms again. That must have been
Tyson
great.
was on shrooms. Holy shit, was Tyson ever on shrooms?
Right.
Yeah. He's a different dude.
Oh, he's definitely a different dude.
And he's trying to do something different.
Yeah.
And if he ever gets it figured out all the way, it'll probably be something pretty special.
I tend to agree with you. If he puts that time in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing it kind of sporadically for the last 2 years.
If he had done a little more preparation,
yeah,
I think he could have really, because the crowd was ready to laugh at him, right? They were with him on this. How funny and silly is it that you're doing stand up on shrooms, right?
Yeah.
They were with him.
They were in,
but he was getting caught up with not having anything to come out with, and when he did. He was getting laughs.
Right. He just didn't have enough material prepared.
He didn't have a bad set.
Yeah.
It just wasn't
dynamite.
It wasn't dynamite by any stretch. But,
how was it? Now, that was your first time closing it out, right?
Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was good. I just did, 7 to 10. It wasn't like a, big closeout spot or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think I had a pretty good set. It wasn't real killer. The tricky bit was the few people that did come out to see me sat right at a front table.
Right.
So I was hearing laughs off them, but I couldn't tell if I was getting laughs
from anywhere else.
Off the other tables.
Yeah, right.
So it was hard to gauge how well I was doing.
Right, yeah.
And I was trying out new stuff too for some of it, which made it difficult. I still don't really know how good that bit is.
Yeah.
But
it's closing the R-bar can be tricky because if the show runs a little long, you've got those people coming in for karaoke at 11. Yeah. They start getting fucking rowdy and talking. They don't give a fuck about the comedy. You know, I wish what they did at the R-bar is charge a $2 to get in and fucking lock that door. It's a $2 to get in until 11 o'clock. That would
change the whole.
It would.
You would only have comedy people in there.
That's right.
People that wanted to see the show.
Yeah, man. I hate giving shows away for free. I hate this donate fucking business that everyone does around here. I personally hate it, man. I would rather be paid less personally, you know, and know I'm only going to get $8, but know I'm going to get a crowd that's there for fucking comedy.
It's an honest crowd, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was so. I think it was after Tyson's set. Someone else was on stage, and this is a perfect example. Somebody walked in, dressed entirely in like a silver foil outfit.
What?
With a silver foil wig and their face painted silver and angel wings, and screamed, "Hey bitches, that's right, it's me, I'm back."
What?
And just totally interrupted the whole. And then the bartender they must have knew them, brought them over, and was like, "Look, this is what's going on."
Shut the fuck up.
They went out the back. I don't know what was.
This is right after Tyson, so very like before intermission even.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah.
Jesus.
Someone was on stage. I can't remember who it was. It might have been John.
Yeah.
Someone was on stage when it happened.
Yeah.
It was it was weird. So, but if that person had been charged a toonie, they may have.
Yeah, they're not coming in. You're not going to see the silver wings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It was weird. It was weird.
You know, that shit adds to the fucking charm and really to the legend of the R-Bar anyway.
It's true.
Right? I mean, you stay on the scene long enough, you're going to have all kinds of wacky stories about that venue, which is great, you know. So what are you looking to do? What's your goal in comedy?
You know,
the
I don't
tippy
know.
top.
I don't know.
No, you don't think about it. You don't lay in bed.
Well,
and
it's tough.
One day.
I mean, it's tough. I mean that sounds nice.
Sure.
Right? In theory, of course, it does.
Yeah.
For one thing, you have to assume that I have the talent to get there.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of crap between where I'm at and what that is.
Sure.
Right. So let's just assume for a second that I'm entirely capable of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of running around Atlantic Canada doing middling spots. There's a lot of getting shipped off to butthole Winnipeg and doing a middling spot.
Or, if you're lucky.
Running around as a signed comic for a national chain or something like that.
Yeah.
In the meantime, there's a lot of travel and a lot of getting so pay and that sort of thing, which is
it's not
fine.
Pay.
That's how
it's
you
not
do
social pay.
No?
It's shit
It's
pay.
shit pay.
It's shit pay.
I was afraid of that.
If you're going with if we're talking about yucks or something like that, you're talking about shit pay.
Right.
Yeah. It's not good fucking. I mean, you're working in the refinery right now.
Well, that's
you know what I mean.
So that's the other
it's not going to be comparable to that. I can tell you.
That's the other difficult part. I've got myself set up to. I have a decent package going on. Right.
Yeah.
Things are
fine.
I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Exactly.
So to walk away from what I've got to chase more, but maybe not get more.
Yeah.
Is tough to do.
Well, the thing is too, and a lot of people were excited. Some of the local comics were excited when yucks come in because they're like, oh, we're going to go through the system. It's amateur night. We'll start doing guest spots, middling spots. Then they're going to ship me all around the country. But here's the fucking reality, okay? There's been a yucks in Halifax for I don't know how many, 10 years, or more.
Yeah. And
there are people who will get shipped down here from Halifax to headline here, and won't ever get shipped past the Maritimes. Never. I don't think there's any that do. So that whole Winnipeg dream, or to be shipped somewhere in buttfuck Winnipeg, that's a dream because that almost never happens for yucks comics here in the Maritimes. They're just going around the Maritimes.
Right. And then to really make a move, you've got to go New York, LA, and try to wade through that soup and make it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could move to Toronto, but even if you're a great comic in Toronto, you're not making great fucking money.
Well, no, I mean, everyone eventually moves out of the country, right?
Yeah, you have to. If you're going to really make it, you're absolutely right. You have to go New York or preferably L.A.
Yeah.
Right, and to make it there, man. I mean, we've just in this area, we've seen people go there and get shipped back pretty quickly.
You really got to stand out.
Yeah.
Right?
You got to have
there's a
something
ton of
fucking
people.
real different, you know,
there's a ton of people
and
doing
substance,
something nice.
not just something different, not just a shtick, because a shtick, like we talked about earlier,
Temporary.
it runs out, you know, and yeah, man, the comedy dream is, it's there, you know, it is achievable, but boy, it's a big fucking mountain to climb,
Yep.
you know, but you're having fun doing it now, right?
I'm having a blast doing it.
Yeah.
And I like that I'm in a position where it doesn't happen often, but I can turn down a show and not feel bad about it. If I don't feel like it, or I'm busy, or I don't have new material.
Yeah.
Like I had one come up recently. Someone offered me a spot, and I didn't have anything for it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get up.
See,
and do
I
the
love
same
that
thing.
fucking mentality, man. I love
I
that.
don't want to do the same thing I've been doing. It was right after the shows I did with Matt.
Right.
And I beat the guts out of that 15 minutes. I did it at Wilsers, and I did it twice with him, and then Jillian Graves. She's a fairly new comic. I don't know if you've
Who's this?
Jillian Graves.
Never heard of her.
She's done a few sets.
Right.
She's got an uncle who's a dentist.
Okay.
And he asked her to put on a show for the St. John Dental Society.
Okay.
They rented out Yuck Yucks for the afternoon.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, on a Saturday. So
Okay.
she asked me to do, I think she wanted 30 minutes. I only ended up doing it at 25.
Yeah,
And
right.
That was throwing everything. I didn't have anything left.
Yeah, sure.
And so by the time I got and that was all the same weekend, the 2 Matt shows and then this dentist thing, and then Wilsers was just before that. So
Yeah.
by the time I was done with that, I didn't want to do my material anymore. I was
Yeah.
sick of it.
You're sick of it. It's not popping you anymore.
Damn tired of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, how can you have a
want-
good time doing it?
I don't want to tell
you
the
know?
moped story again, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So that must have been a well-paying gig, though.
Yeah, it was nice. It was something
Yeah.
different and interesting crowd. Weird show.
Yeah.
Weird show. I went on stage about 4 p.m. on a Saturday.
Right. It's an afternoon show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were a little bit lubricated, thankfully.
Right. Well, that's all right.
Not a whole lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And they left the lights on. In
The house
in
lights?
The room, though. Yeah.
Oh no.
So I can see
Laugh Factory
faces.
stuff. Yeah.
Which was different.
Yeah. I don't care for that.
But I went out and I had a bit of a thought in the green room. I thought I'm gonna pursue this. So I went out and I said, "You guys are all dentists, right?" Just dentists. There's no orthodontists. I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, what a bunch of smug pricks they are. And they lost it, right? 'Cause
Of course.
Anytime you can punch up,
Oh yeah,
it
absolutely.
does really well.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
That's
I,
fantastic. That was a smart play.
Yeah, well, and then
Yeah.
I went, I did extra schooling. I know how to straighten teeth. I exploit my children on the radio for advertising.
Yes.
And they just lost their
Oh,
mind.
good for you, man.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
only problem was I then couldn't really follow up those laughs with my material. Like, the set went fine.
Yeah.
It went well.
Yeah, yeah. But they
it-
dug that
nothing-
more than.
That was the funniest thing I could have said
Yeah.
in that room, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of the tough thing to do. You know, that kind of sort of happened to me up in Gagetown when I performed for the troops. I did a bunch of, I had this gay bit. I call it, the faggot bit. Actually, I call it the James Franco because at the end of the bit, I talk about how he's the only guy that could probably turn me. And anyway, but I did a bunch of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And then I tore apart the Navy because these were all artillery guys, right? So I tore apart I thought only the Navy were fruits, Went off on the fucking Navy, had them right on my side.
Same thing, right? Funniest thing you could have said.
Yeah, and then, but once I got into my, my gay material, it still hit hard, but nowhere near as hard as it was hitting in the beginning. And it's like, God damn it, maybe I should have done that at the end,
It's
But it's a balancing act because you need to endear yourself to them immediately.
Right.
You got to rope them in right away,
Yeah.
right? So.
And it did buy me. It did
Buy you
buy
some
me
grace.
some favor with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I went into my bit about chickenpox vaccines,
Yeah.
and how polio is worse than autism, and they weren't quite feeling it,
Yeah.
I was able to pick it up after that, and it wasn't such a hard hit, right? When they weren't feeling the bit.
Yeah.
The next one sort of picked back up.
Nice. But yeah, see, like, honestly, I believe the true path to comedy career here is to go independent. I don't think Yucks is the way because I don't think that system is interested in growing you as a comic. I think they want the same material that's tested and tried. They want you to continue to do that fucking shit, and they don't want to pay you no money. Like, to be honest, like me, I've gone to Chuckles and Chuckles pays me well.
Mm-hmm.
They pay me well, and but anytime I've been hired independently, and that's really how I don't go looking for shows now, right? People reach out.
Yeah,
I set a
people come to
price
you.
and
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, of course, I do open mics and all that shit.
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
I've made good fucking money. I mean, I've had shows where I've had no interest in doing them, and I'll go, yeah, I'll do it for this. And they'll go, oh, sweet, yes, please. And I'm like, oh, right. Now I'm excited to fucking do it, right?
Absolutely.
But I think, I mean, most of the touring comics that I've worked with, they're all independents.
Yeah.
And they all seem to be doing a lot better. And they all tell you, they've all told me, yucks is death. I mean, if you want to make $250 a night, maybe if you're lucky 3 nights a week, but not every fucking week,
right.
It's a tough fucking go, man.
Yep.
It's a tough go. But it is the dream, man. My dream is I wish I got into this when I was 20, and then I could, I can afford to live in my truck and
right.
drive here and drive there.
Yep.
I mean, and that's not a viable fucking option for me anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
so I'm approaching that spot, right? Where
right.
it's not
where it's not going to be.
Things were my life is kind of setting up here, and I've decided to sort of step into this world in the meantime. And
yeah.
I think,
but as you're getting into comedy, your life is you're domesticating.
Yeah,
at
things
the same
are
time.
coming up at the same time. It's a
Yeah.
tough spot to do it. So if I were going to to live in a truck and do that thing, I'd have to make that choice soon. But
yeah,
I think going independent. I think doing shows around here. I think having it as a hobby that provides a little extra cash flow.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it because I'm sick in the head and need
You need outlets.
I need the love and adoration from strangers, right?
That's
what
right.
I really need.
Yeah.
So it's
but
not
no, you love the craft, right?
that.
I mean,
Yeah,
to me,
absolutely.
that's obvious because every time I've seen you, you're doing new shit.
Yeah.
Right? It's very obvious to me that you love the craft. I look at some people who say they love comedy, but they're doing the same fucking shit over and over. It's like, you don't really, I can't believe that you really love this comedy business, But whatever.
Well,
I mean,
it's also you're getting a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
Right? You're getting a lot of the same crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you have any respect for the crowd at all, and any interest in these people being interested in seeing you,
yeah.
you got to come with some new stuff.
That's right. And now I'm going to quote Joe Rogan, and people think I do it all the fucking time. But
Smart man.
Yeah, he's very smart, particularly when it comes to comedy, even though I don't really care for much of his comedy. Trigger was very good, but I've never really been a big fan of his comedy. Love his commentating, pretty much everything else he does,
Yeah.
podcasts specifically. But what he said was, if I'm a fan of Chris Hovey, the only guy that can give me Chris Hovey comedy is Chris Hovey.
Right.
So if I'm going out to see you and you're giving me the same old fucking shit, I'm not going to be a Chris Hovey fan for a long time.
Right. You've got everything that I have to offer, right?
That's right. But
That's
I
even the
want
point.
more. I want more of what you can
course.
give, and only you can do it. And I think comics, I think they need to realize that.
And I'm also constantly trying to, it's again with the class. You come out after 6 weeks. You've got a polished 7 minutes, right?
Right.
You got 7 minutes that you've been kicking around for a while. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So everyone on that show had a good set.
Yeah. I heard
And
that Virgin show was fucking killer.
Yeah, everyone had a good set because
Yeah.
everyone had been practicing their material.
Right.
So then the question becomes, okay, well, can I do it again?
Yeah.
And okay, that set went pretty good. That material was pretty good. People seem to like that. Can I do it again?
Yeah.
Can I do it? A lot of people talk about an hour a year. I'm not necessarily nailed to that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I don't think you need to be yet.
no, but I think thinking in that way, that's not a bad 5 minutes a month shouldn't be too difficult,
It shouldn't be.
right?
Yeah.
That's something to shoot for. Some months you get 10, some months you get 3.5. It just depends.
Yeah.
Right.
Some months you get none.
Right.
When
Sometimes nothing comes to you.
I started out, very similar to you, where I was doing a new set every time, and then a little while in, it goes, oh shit, I got nothing. It stops coming to you.
Right.
Writer's block,
Mm-hmm.
and the writer's block is real, man. It's been
Definitely.
happening. It's been happening to me a little bit over the last 3 or 4 months, where it's not really writer's block, but I used to have shit like fucking coming right out all the time, and now it's a bit of a struggle. That joke writing contest, that was a struggle. I certainly shouldn't have left it to day of. Write that shit.
Well, it's like
But
you
it
said
was
to me,
it was a struggle.
It's like you said to me on the night of, though, right? It's amount of work put in versus what you get out of it.
That's right.
So, you came out victorious having written it the day of.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue that you should have spent more time on it, but
That's true. But imagine, I can imagine that it would have been a lot better
definitely.
if I had been able to edit it for a week, say.
Yeah, of course.
Although I thrive under that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a week ago I wouldn't have been able to write nearly half that much funny, right?
That's how you work.
That's just the way my brain works. What I loved about your set that you did at Matt's taping was the physicality you put into it. When
That
you lay
was-
down on that stage, right? And you're a bigger fella.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
But what I loved is you didn't care. Your belly was exposed. You were laying down there, and you were committed to that physicality of the fucking bit. I loved it, man. I love seeing any physicality out of people.
That was a new thing for me. So doing stand-up in the first place is a big step into a vulnerable space, right? Mm-hmm. You're in front of all these people. You're expressing thoughts and feelings you have, hoping that they're going to relate to it and think it's funny.
Right.
And if they don't, that's why it's so crushing when you bomb, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
They don't, that they're just not with you. You're on your own, right?
Yeah. And it's 50-50.
Right.
It exists every time, right?
Right.
It could go either way.
So jumping into a physical bit like that for me was a step into a different vulnerability.
Right.
Right? Now I'm laying on the floor, right? I can't stand in a certain way to make myself. I'm laying on the floor.
Yeah.
And like you said, I don't know why I should have worn a longer shirt, but anyways.
No.
No.
It wouldn't have been as good, Chris. Honestly, it wouldn't have.
Fair enough. But for me to be exposed in that way,
yeah,
was another thing that I was uncomfortable with, and I wanted to step into it because I wanted to go there.
Absolutely, man.
And
that's how you fucking grow as a comic.
Sure.
You know, like I'm a fucking masculine dude, right? Like I'm a fucking macho guy. And for me to get up there and walk around and act like a fucking chicken and flap my wings and stuff, like, you know, I don't really particularly want to be seen that way, you know, because I'm fucking Mr. Macho Man. But you need to do that for the laughs, right?
Yep.
You need to show the people I'm willing to do whatever it takes to let you know I'm a silly motherfucker. I want to make you laugh. I want to make you guys happy.
Right.
No matter what I have to do it, you know.
Yeah, and that's it. I didn't want to be seen laying on the floor with my, the bottom of my belly sticking out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, doing that a few times, because I worked that bit for a month or so.
Sure.
I don't know. There's a little bit of an effect where I don't worry about it so much now. Right?
Yeah.
I feel a little better about myself. I took a step into showing everybody that side of me, and it's cool.
Well, I mean, you could not have been more vulnerable.
Right.
Right? Because you were literally laying prone and vulnerable.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're also exposing maybe a couple things you're not happy about, you know, with
Absolutely.
yourself, right?
Absolutely.
It's like me going out, you know, carrying a fucking meter stick beside me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But you have jokes about your height, which is doing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You're poking fun at it to sort of bring it to the surface and then deal with it, right?
Yeah. How much thought do you put into the physicality of your bits? Like, do you when you're sitting writing and you're you know, trying to get it into your head, are you thinking consciously about, oh, maybe I should walk here or do this with my hand?
Not a whole lot. And I'm mostly stationary.
Yeah.
I talk with my hands a fair bit, anyways.
Right.
You've probably noticed. The people that
Absolutely.
are listening haven't because they can't see me, but and I try to minimize that as much as I can.
Yeah.
Most of the time, to draw attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need it, so I'll throw it in here and there. But I don't think about it too much. That bit, someone had actually invited me on a ski trip.
Right.
And the first thought I had naturally was, well, can I bring my GT snow racer?
Yeah.
And I went, oh shit, that might be a bit, and I worked it. And then I realized, crap, I'm gonna have to flop around on the floor to make this.
To make it
that's
work.
where it has to go.
Yeah,
That's
you
where it
can't
has to
just
go.
tell me.
No,
right? I gotta see this.
It's the idea of a fat kid in a snowsuit trying to get up off a toboggan is what's funny about this.
Yeah.
I've got to bring it to them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've got another bit that I did Saturday where I impersonate a raccoon. I'm talking about people cutting up donuts in the office.
Right.
Instead of just taking the whole thing.
Sure.
And
People do that?
Yeah.
What, do they feel guilty? They don't want to have a whole donut?
You know what, Mark?
Go fuck
it's
yourself.
not people. I'm going to take a stand. It's middle-aged office women.
Okay, that's all it is.
They cut donuts.
Yeah. They do, eh?
They do.
I've never seen this sort of fucking thing.
It's
I got to
goddamn sin.
I got to admit to you, okay? Donuts, deep fried donuts, one of my favorite
weakness?
things in the fucking world, and I almost never eat them because I know they're horrible for you.
Oh yeah.
And I know what I'm like.
Sure.
I love them, and I stay away from them. But I'll tell you this much: if I'm going for one, I'm fucking going for one.
You want the
I'm
whole
not going
donut.
for half of
Right.
one.
Right.
These fucking
and
bitches.
that's the joke is that I've gathered up the pieces and I say I run back to my desk like a raccoon.
Yes.
And I've worked out this like sort of high knees little run thing I do.
Oh,
And
little raccoon run?
Yeah, it worked
dude.
really well.
Oh, I
Saturday
gotta see
night.
this.
Yeah, I was really happy with it.
Yeah, man. I love that stuff. It's that physicality, man. I think you're the kind of guy. I didn't think about it in the beginning. Right? I never gave any thought into it at all. As I went on, and I think that'll happen for you the more you go on. What's already happening, right?
Yeah, I like it, and the crowd's reaction to it is good.
They love.
So
crowd loves physical stuff. How do you think Jim Carrey got so fucking big, right?
well, that he was almost entirely physical.
Yeah,
Right?
Kramer,
He does a lot of physical
right?
stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
John Ritter.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
You want another beer?
Sure. Yeah, he used to trip over the step in the apartment there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of John Ritter, are you watching this crashing show?
I haven't been.
Pete Holmes really reminds me of that John.
I like Pete Holmes most of the time. I've listened to his podcasts and stuff in the past. And
Yeah.
I've seen some of his stand-up and stuff. But I haven't managed to catch the show yet.
It's a good show.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great show. It's the show is that the premise is that he's starting out in comedy.
Right. Okay.
So he's barking, giving out flyers, trying to get stage time. It's really good. But there's big stars in it: Artie Lang, Bill Burr, Sarah
awesome.
Silverman. You know, they all take him in and let him crash on the couch, and he's
part of that crowd, right? So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
The weird thing is, it's not particularly interesting. It's not very funny. It's just it ropes you in. You just get, you know,
it's all character driven.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I'm a comic that I love it
Could
so
be.
much, and
Yep.
it's, you know, but it's not like it's not really that great a show, but it's a great fucking show. It's strange, but yeah, it's good shit. I think about it a lot more now. The physicality in comedy, I really put a lot of thought into it when I'm writing a bit. You know, I look for it a little bit. What can I do to jazz this up a little bit, almost, you know? But I find nowadays it's funny because it seems like it doesn't really matter how great the writing is for me now because I've found a stage presence.
Right.
You know, not exactly my voice yet. I'm pretty early on. I'm not going to say I've found my voice. I'm not sure if you ever really, truly find it, you know?
It's probably a moving target. I mean, if it's a component of you, right, and you're changing,
and you're constantly evolving,
right?
Yeah,
It's a moving target.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a great way to fucking put it, Chris.
So do you think of Stage Mark as a character? Is Splude a character, or are
no.
you just more you?
I'm more me.
Okay.
And I heard Rev say this about me, and himself. He said, you know, what Splude and I do up there is characters, and I could not have disagreed more. Now, I used to have this bit on the radio that I did, the Spawn of St. John.
Yep, I remember catching
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a character.
Sure.
What I'm endeavoring to do is to get, like I hang out with my wife every night in the living room, and I crack her up every fucking night, right? And she cracks me back and all that stuff. It's that guy that I want on the stage, but it's very difficult to get him there. You know?
It's hard to replicate.
It's hard to replicate, especially because what I'm presenting is writing.
Right.
You know, but that's what I do is I'm fucking around with her. Maybe I'll come up with a good premise by cracking her up. I'll write it down real quick. That's what I'm fleshing out. But it's never the same, and it's never as organic as it is in the living
Never
room,
as
right?
organic, no.
But man. What I'm going for is the absolute opposite of a fucking character. You know, I mean, I don't think I need to, Chris, because I'm kind of a character. You know, I'm a bit of a wacky fucking dude.
I don't believe in a quote unquote character. I really don't. I get up there and I kind of turn the volume up on myself a little bit.
And
Just
you turn the
enough to-
exaggeration up.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
turn the stories
Yeah, yeah.
up, right?
Me, but a little more extroverted, right? I'm using some energy to kind of bring myself up to
Psych
kind of
yourself up to do it.
being worthy of being on stage.
Right.
But I don't have the energy to come up with another person to.
No chance.
And I heard another comic that's sort of in that my kind of tier of comics say something about, well, my writing's pretty good. I just need to really define my character. What are you?
That makes me sick. Not that it makes me sick. I mean, listen, everyone's got a different deal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone has a different deal, and maybe people think that's going to be successful, right? And oftentimes it is. I mean, you look at Larry the Cable Guy.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
he's not sleeping in his fucking truck and driving
No,
to gigs.
that's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right, yeah.
So there is something to be said for it. But no, that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for just what you said, man. The exact opposite, right? Me turned up a little bit.
I don't want to try to get into another headspace to write.
Yeah.
What would that Chris say?
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever, put a name to him or whatever. Like, what would my character say?
Yeah, that's what made my
way
radio bit so painful. That's why I disliked it near the end. I was like, well, this is me writing it, yes, but this is me writing it for this fucking guy. And, now a lot of the stuff was based on, shit that actually happened to me or something somebody said to me or something like that. But it still seemed too phony, Yeah. And then off of that, I got a gig at the radio, on the radio, a voice personality on the radio. Hated it. I
Really?
fucking hated it.
Not for you,
Because it wasn't me. I couldn't be me. couldn't talk the way I do. I mean, I had been doing a podcast for 2 years by that time. So it's like, I already get to say whatever the fuck I want and broadcast it. Yep. Maybe not, I don't have 70,000 listeners. But still, I still get to fucking do it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'd do my podcast the next morning. I'd be on the radio. Hey, don't forget to sign up for our curling competition there.
Right.
And like, it's just, it made me hate the whole fucking deal, And I've been offered since to go back and offer decent fucking money.
Really?
Really good money. Actually, once Joe left and the morning show just recently got canned too.
No way.
And I've been talking to them, but I'm not interested in it, man, because it's not me. Nope. If they wanted me to do a morning show where it was me,
right.
Me without cursing,
sure, yeah.
but me,
still you. Yeah.
But no terrestrial radio is really into that shit. They're not interested in that kind of thing, right? Now, Sirius and XM and that kind of thing, they're interested in that.
Sure, yeah.
But no, man, I do not ever want to be doing a character up there. And in fact, I'll get mad. Like if I go up there and I'm too angry, if I'm projecting too much, I'll come off stage and go, why? Why were you fucking doing that, man? That's not you. Don't do that shit. I'll get mad at myself for it, Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't have to be.
Well, I don't think anybody has to be. It's
exactly.
The thing. I mean, if you're inclined to do this in the first place, nobody's hanging out with their friends and not making them laugh and thinking, gee, maybe I should do stand-up, right?
Yeah.
Every one of us who's tried it is, the crack up in the group, at least.
That's right.
Part of the time.
Yeah.
So, and you're just being yourself with those people. So why would you then try to put on?
Yeah, it's not like you're going to the fucking break room at work and turning on this fucking character.
Right.
Hey, how's everybody? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, who are the people you hang out with on? Like, what's your clique here in the St. John comedy scene? Who are the people you hang out with most?
Well, I'm a little bit outside it as a whole, I think, but Matt and I've been hanging out more and more.
Matt Keenan.
Yeah, Matt Keenan.
What a great fucking kid, man. I love
think
this
he's
guy.
a good guy to hitch a wagon to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He is motivated, dude.
You were talking about, doing things for yourself, being independent.
Yeah.
John needs his props, of course, right?
Yeah.
Setting up open mics and setting up shows.
Oh, absolutely.
And Shane, too.
Yeah.
But right now, Matt Keenan is just chasing everything. He's
chasing
open
the
mics.
dream, man.
He's putting on shows at the Art Center, and he's not waiting for other people to do it.
That's right.
He's thinking, gee, there should be a couple more open mics. Well, guess I got to do a couple more
gotta
open
create
mics.
them. Yeah.
Geez, it'd be nice if there was some more paid shows. Guess I'm going to have to do the paid shows. He's taking it on himself. And it's only going to create more opportunity for everybody.
Yeah, it's a great point, man. I think Matt has really done a lot. And this is one of the reasons why when Darren Elmore attacked him on Facebook or whatever, why I really went to bat for Matt, because really at that time, I hardly knew Matt at all. In fact, I was just coming off of not really liking him that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
And but the thing was, I could see what he's doing, man. Like, this kid's out there fucking trying, and he's adding so much to this scene that you are fucking tearing down, asshole. And that's really what got me to do that podcast. Matt he's really a huge addition to this fucking scene.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because I don't think he gets enough recognition for that. I think people look and go, oh, Keenan's doing a show here. Keenan's doing a show here. But let's start putting them on a fucking list, right, of all the shows he's actually promoted.
Yeah.
That's a long fucking list, man. And like you said, money, right? Opportunity.
He's doing his damnedest to do it.
Yeah,
he really is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I hope people support him, and I hope these Art Center shows keep happening, and I hope people keep coming out to them, because he's putting together lineups, right? He's putting together good lineups.
Oh, fucking right he is, man. I mean, for his taping, man, that was such a perfect fucking lineup. First of all, you got Thane Fox hosting. You can't go wrong. I love Thane Fox.
He might be the most charming person I've ever met.
He might be, right?
There's something about him, even if he can
First of all, he's gorgeous, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's got
Great
the
to look
hipster, I mean, his fashion is fantastic.
Looks killer.
He's funny as fuck, so outgoing. Man, he's such a great kid.
And even if he delivers a joke that doesn't quite hit, the crowd still like him.
They like him. He's got some kind of charisma.
There's something as long as he keeps at it, his jokes are only going to get stronger. He's going to be a major threat.
Yeah.
Dude.
See, he was around back in the day. Back in the day when Ken's first class started coming out. Now, he wasn't in that class, but around that same time. And he wasn't consistent, but he was always, the crowd always liked him, even if he didn't get big pops at all of his jokes. And for whatever reason, he walked away. And I know it was partly because he got a woman, You know, and when you're 18, 19 and you find that one
that's the
stellar
world.
piece of pussy,
Yep.
you're off to the races, right? Nothing else really fucking matters.
No, never wanted
And
nothing
I think
more.
it was partly that, and I know it was partly, I think he wanted to crush every time, and he wasn't happy if, you know, that wasn't happening, right? And early on, man, consistency is so difficult. So that's what's impressive about Chris Hovey. So let's circle it back to what we were talking about before the podcast,
Sure.
because you know, I've said on this podcast in the past that you're a big bringer. You know, you bring a lot of people out to the shows. Have since you started, still do now, maybe at a lower level.
Sure.
But how do you think that's affected you starting out? It's got to be a positive, Chris.
It is overall.
Yeah.
It definitely is overall. I mean, it's good for everybody. I think, you know, if I'm on a show with whoever, right, that's more eyeballs on them.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's people.
I want to be on a Chris Hovey show.
That's people who might have never
because you
seen,
get people out more than I do.
Sure.
Dude. And I fucking headline Chuckles. You know.
And that's people who might not have seen, you know, Matt or Sam or Joe or any of those guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Extra exposure.
And it's eyeballs on them. So it's a good thing for everybody. It did allow people to write me off a little bit in the first.
Yeah. Admittedly, I was one of them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you wrote me off necessarily, but you were
Not wrote you off, but
you were skeptical, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to know.
Yeah,
right?
I wanted to know, is he really funny or is it
Right.
just these bringers, you know?
Right. And I was aware of that, and I was wondering that myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I got up to Wilshires as soon as I could. Did well there.
Yeah.
And sort of feel so I still
Not
try
an
to
easy
do,
room to do well in either.
No,
It can
there-
be, but it can be very harsh too.
It can go either way.
Yeah, my last time didn't go great
no.
there, but I'm sure you've heard me tell the
The
story.
last time I was
Yeah.
up there was a goddamn train wreck.
Is that right?
So it was a Saturday night. They had pushed it because of the snowstorm.
Oh shit!
And there were people who would come in just to come to the bar.
Because they go there every Saturday night.
Sure,
maybe.
completely
Yeah.
unaware. And there were some military guys there in the front that were pretty pickled.
Oh no!
And one of them managed to check off everything on the list of things you're not supposed to do at a stand-up show, including grabbing the mic.
Oh,
what?
Oh
yeah, because
not during your set.
not during my set.
Okay, right.
So
Jesus, what a nightmare that would be.
Joe had put me on last.
Oh yeah, Butler's running that room now.
Butler's
isn't he?
running that room.
Yeah,
now, that's another guy who deserves some credit. He
Goddamn
definitely
right.
he's doing his damnedest. I know it's hard in Miramichi.
Yeah.
And he's
hit a couple
coming up
roadblocks
on,
there.
He's coming up on every roadblock.
Yeah.
But he's doing what he can. He really
Yeah.
wants to make stuff happen. But by the time I was on, they had left. But Corey Hartford had some fun with them.
Corey
Is it Hartland?
Hartland. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's my mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he is. And he had some fun with them, and he actually engaged the gentleman a bit.
Yeah. Well, Corey's got a lot of experience, man. Corey's been doing it a long time.
And that's just the thing. Like,
Yeah.
you can write really well, and you can feel good about the way you write, and have your material do well. But dealing with that kind of thing,
A shit show.
and dealing with crowd work and that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
and with hecklers, that's all experience,
Oh yes.
right? There's
And military, it's just a different deal. It's a
They're a
fucking
different breed,
different
yeah.
deal, man. I've been up against the fucking military a few times. And in fact, we did this one Christmas show where I couldn't even do my material. I could
Really?
not do any material. There was too much popping off in the room. You have to deal with it. You know, because I watched a comic go up before me, try to struggle through all his material. And, you know, there's too much going on. No one's paying attention,
Yeah.
you know. So what you got to do is play off, right? But you don't
See
know
what
that
happens. Yeah.
until you've experienced that, you know.
I'm just getting comfortable. I dealt with those folks at the Laughter Dark there, the one that we did just recently at the show competition.
Yeah.
I got
A lot of talking.
I got a
people
little
there.
bit of a pop off dealing with them. A bit,
Those
which
people
was-
up front.
which was kinda
Yeah, you
nice.
sure did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's hard, and they were hard headed. It took you barking at them there toward the end to really shut them up.
Oh yeah, and even then it didn't really. You know, they were
worked for a few minutes, but
right after I got them to shut up, he leaned over to the girl and started whispering to her. Well, at least he was whispering, right? But he
it was an
still not to be
improvement.
deterred.
But it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is strange because if you're standing a few feet from them, you weren't on a stage or anything. You were standing right in front
Right
of them.
there.
For you to stand a few feet away from somebody and yell into a microphone to shut up.
Yeah.
And they still not get the message. I mean,
what more can you do?
They're just not going to get the message.
They're not going to get it.
They're not going to get it.
Yeah.
But no, I think bringing people to shows is a good thing. And like I say, it's dropping off a bit.
Sure. Who are all these people that were coming out? Like, who are they? They're coworkers
so
or friends?
the first
you
show,
can't have that many friends, or you wouldn't get into comedy.
Well, that's just it. That's just it. So this is my big secret, Matt.
Okay, here we go.
No, a lot of them are coworkers, and they're friends too. I hang out with them outside of work, but there's a fair sized group of people about my age at the office.
Right.
So they were all interested in what was happening, right? Like Chris is doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, we got to find out what this is about, right?
Right.
And then my family is supportive to a fault. So
Oh, nice. Like cousins and stuff
they
like
came
that?
out.
Like that deep family?
yeah, sometimes. Not
Nice.
not all of them, but
Yeah.
aunts and uncles for sure,
Oh, nice.
which creates kind of a weird audience scape sometimes.
A little bit, yeah.
But they come out when they can, and mom and dad are at a lot.
oh, that's awesome.
A lot.
Yeah.
It is. Dad and I used to go to a lot of stand-up shows together.
Oh,
Well,
that's
we
fantastic.
go to Imperial Theater and see, whoever was coming.
Sure.
I think we saw Danny Boy a couple times there and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, right. Did you guys go to
we
Jim
really
Jeffries?
bonded over it. We didn't.
Oh,
We missed
you
Jim
missed
Jeffries.
it
There was
there,
something
yeah.
else going on.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I just discovered him too when he was coming, so I was excited
Yeah.
about it.
Oh, he was so good. But now let me ask you, so you're at the office. Hey, I joined this course, and I got this show coming up. Were they even aware that there was like amateur comedy going on in the city?
absolutely
Most
not.
of them probably not.
Now,
right?
part of that is because my company has an office in Calgary.
Right.
And with the oil sands not really being a viable option right now, they're sending people in droves from.
Oh, so
Calgary
a
to
lot
St.
of them
John.
are-
they're imports, right?
Yeah,
They've come in.
right,
So
right.
they don't know much about St. John in the first place. So
Yeah.
they're thirsty for anything.
Yeah.
Like they're coming from a big city where things are
Always
bumping,
going on.
and they're looking for something. So they're out at every music open night. I don't know, any band that's performing anywhere, they want to be there. They're always trying to entertain themselves.
Yeah, right.
They also don't have any family or friends here except for each other.
Yeah.
right? So
They have time on
just
their hands.
starving for stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Oh, that's interesting.
They were way into it.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody, except for like the people closest to me that I was even doing the course.
Right.
I kept it a secret because I wasn't sure if I still didn't know if I was going to be good, and then if I was going to want to do the show.
Yeah.
And then when the show came out, it was the first most of them had heard about it.
We got to. I want to come back to the course and just before you went into it. But what we were talking about and what I said about the bringers, you're right. It is such a positive. But what my concern was, can Chris Hovey still do it?
Of course,
you
yeah.
know. And like I said to you, and I'm not going to mention any names. Normally I do on here, but I've seen it a few times in this area where people start off and they bring bringers, and they do well, right? And they get booked a little bit here, a little bit there because of those bringers. But then the more they get booked, the more you start seeing the chinks in the armor. But these guys can't really fucking hold it up,
Right.
and those people don't continue to get booked. But you've been consistently funny, and you're getting booked bringers and no bringers. But it helps you get booked, and it helps you get booked higher on the bill because people want your people to stay around a little longer,
Yeah.
right?
And it's one of those things where I've made sure that people who come to the shows know that it's proper etiquette to watch everybody.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you want to watch
Yeah,
everybody?
and I
right?
mean you can't convince everybody.
I can't.
Right,
But
not everybody's gonna stay.
the number of walkouts isn't significant. Most of the people that come to see me are good about it, and they want to see everybody.
I think the
And,
first show that I did with you was the Yucks Amateur Night,
That's right. Yeah.
and
That was only my
Christ,
third
you
time
had
on stage.
a lot of. Pardon me.
That was my third time on stage, I think.
Just a third.
Yeah, the third, yeah.
You did well too. There's a lot of chatter out back. I couldn't hear your entire set, but you did well, and you had a fucking like 2 tables there.
There were,
or at least
there were
seemingly.
probably, I don't know, 12 or 15, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, man.
But
but I mean,
I-
we're talking about a sold out venue, so it wasn't.
Well, that's
they
the
weren't
thing.
all your
So I
fucking
always
people.
try to think of it as percentage of the crowd,
Yeah.
and in that case, it might have been 10% or so of the crowd,
Yeah.
which is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it was also nice to get laughs across
All
the whole
tables.
room. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. You
good.
did fucking great that night.
It was
From
good
what I
set.
could tell from
Yeah, it was a good set.
from out back, yeah. Yeah, I love that venue, man. I love that. I wish there were no
fucking great
politics,
venue.
attached to Yucks and all that shit. I wish they paid better. I wish they paid, period. I'm not sure there's many people in this city that have been paid at all from Yucks, between guest spots and amateur night is really the only stage time that most people here locally have gotten, and no money.
No.
Which is, to me, it's fucking crazy. Even on amateur night, man, if you're charging people to get in the door and you're still selling booze, why aren't we paying these fucking comics? I mean, that's...
I mean, it's and selling out amateur nights, right?
Right.
It's happened a few times.
absolutely.
They've
It happened the night I was there.
Yeah, they've gotten really good crowds in.
Yeah.
I did another one, and there was a girl who was doing her first night. She brought a pile of people.
Right.
And a few other people were doing their first one. So there was
Who was
again,
that?
a
Who
big
was this
crowd.
comic?
Her name was Lauren. I don't remember her last name.
Right. And
It's,
she-
it's the only one she's done. I think she's doing the amateur night again this Wednesday.
Oh, okay, right.
and that's all she's done so far. It's just those 2 shows.
I got to get down to Yucks more, man. Each time I've gone, I've enjoyed myself. You know, it's just, I don't know. I hate the politics of comedy.
We're enjoying a moment of silence right now with everything.
Right.
Things have cooled off. It seems.
Yeah.
At least from what I can tell. But who knows, right?
Yeah.
Next person to step in it.
You're probably on social media, so you probably see.
Yeah.
You know, everything that's going on in this scene.
Happen,
Yeah. So it seems pretty quiet on
at
the
the
home
moment,
front right now.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, the last big one was the Club Rewind Festival that was supposed to take place in January, right? And then we lost that bar. So
Yeah. Was that a good venue?
It was a good venue.
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't really get along with that promoter.
No.
I've had history with her.
Sure.
I'd just rather not deal with her. But it sucks that we lost the venue.
Well, it was different. It was a big high stage. It was like a music venue style stage.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of seating.
Yeah.
Which was nice. She did charge $10 cover.
That's
which
fantastic.
was good for the comics.
Yeah.
We got some decent money out of there some nights, depending on how many people we got. I mean, yeah, it was good overall.
It's too soon for these festivals, man.
Yeah.
This area does not give a shit about comedy. I mean, the comics do, and it seems like
Mm-hmm.
it's this big fucking scene, but in reality, it's really not. And I think it's just too soon.
Well, it's out of people's eyesight, right? People have no idea it's happening.
That's right, and
They just don't know.
No promoter can afford to really get the fucking word out there. I mean, marketing's expensive.
Well, and that's the challenge, is getting people to come to the R Bar for a No Jokes Barred show just because a No Jokes Barred show's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But that's what you want, right?
Yeah, that's what you want, but it's extremely difficult.
There are people who buy tickets to Yuck Yucks for a Friday or Saturday night show.
Yeah.
And they don't know the headliner from a hole in the ground.
No, that's right.
But they trust that
The brand.
The brand.
It's the brand. Now,
and
speaking
they
of
sell tickets.
Now, speaking of brands, so you're booked on. Give me a plug for your next show in March at the Arts Center.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am. I'm on a show with Shane Ogden is the headliner,
Right.
and Sam
Fucking
Wademan
dynamite
is on that show, and Pragina Maskey, who
Yes.
is new to. Have you seen Pragina yet?
Oh, I saw Pragina's first set,
Okay.
and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw her and Jen and Mike, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't at that show, but she was on at No Jokes Saturday night.
Oh, this past Saturday?
past one?
She was just at the R Bar?
Yeah, she's just at the R Bar again.
Fuck, I can't believe I'm so upset I missed that fucking show, man.
I dig her.
Yeah. Oh, she's
I like her.
fantastic, man.
Her kind of nervous energy works
It
with
works
what she's doing.
big time.
And she pulled the laughs out of people.
Yeah.
I was really impressed.
Her first set was at the R Bar, and she fucking killed, man.
Yeah.
She killed. She has a lot of potential, and she's a sweetheart of a person too.
She seems it. Yeah, I had a short conversation with her. She seems like an absolute doll.
She's gonna kill there at the Art Center.
think
I
so.
believe she's gonna kill.
I think so. It's a really good lineup. Sam's another one of the. You asked about who I hang out with. I hang out with Sam some.
Great kid.
I love Sam.
Yeah.
Nope, I hate to say it, he can be hit and miss sometimes with the crowd.
absolutely.
But when he hits, no
He
one
hits
makes me laugh
fucking
harder
hard.
than Sam.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And he's just the way he thinks sometimes is so.
He'll find that consistency, man. The only thing
there.
he needs to find, I don't think it's the writing at all. I think for Sam, it's just delivery.
He's got to memorize his fucking material.
He's got to memorize that's for sure too. And I don't want to harp about it too much because I harp
I know,
about
but
it every fucking
I
podcast.
don't believe in notes either, right?
Yeah,
I,
man.
I don't go up with.
No, like because it's timing. There's a rhythm to it, right? There's a rhythm to comedy. You have to have people. It's you want your crowd to be like a flowing sea, right? They're coming along with you. They're moving with you. And when you stop at any time or look at notes or phones, it just takes people out of the experience, right? It's like imagine going to a movie, right? So you're sitting there, you're right into the movie, right? It's fucking Lord of the Rings or whatever, and Gollum takes out a piece of fucking paper and goes, "What's my
Reads
line
his
here?"
line
You
off.
know what I mean? You're out. You can't suspend your disbelief.
That's right.
Any longer. Fuck, they got to stop doing it. And that will help Sam immensely if he does that. But, here's the thing, man. Sam is very early on in comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the thing is, what I notice, a lot of people get into comedy around here, man. I've seen so many people come and go, and, a lot of them stay on. But in this scene, there's people like Shane Ogden. There's people like me. There's consistency near the top tier, right? Consistency. And the younger comics want that, right? But they're forgetting that, you guys are starting out.
Yeah.
And not everybody's going to be consistent all the time, right?
Right.
But I think it's more difficult to put it in perspective here because of the way things are structured. It's tough to put it in perspective. But you should never beat the shit out of yourself early on for not doing so well, not being consistent, because you shouldn't be.
No,
right?
No, that's right.
Really, honestly, this
you should be
scene,
taking risks.
Yeah, this scene to
right?
me is on a much higher level than any other local scene that I've ever seen. So I think all the comics should be proud of that, right? But Sam shouldn't be upset about that, man. That's all part of the process.
Well, I mean, he takes risks,
Yes.
which is great. He's writing stuff. He's pushing his,
Yeah.
he's pushing himself outside of what he knows works, and he's trying it. And I wish you could find an audience that would stick with him through that butterfly joke,
I know.
because it
goes over everybody's heads.
Silly,
It's so smart.
It's silly, but it's really smart.
Oh, it's so smart,
and
man.
you've got to be quick to get it.
Yeah.
and they just miss it.
It's so brilliant, man. I fucking that's one of my favorite jokes by Sam.
They just miss it.
Yeah.
It's a sin.
We did a show in St. George for just a bunch of fucking Legionnaires, right? Went over all their fucking heads.
Yeah.
So I was the idiot at the back, only guy in the room fucking laughing about it, right? Yeah, I fucking love Sam. So on this show, it's Regina, Sam Laban, Chris Hovey,
And Shane Ogden.
and Shane Ogden.
Yeah.
4 years.
Four
Man,
years.
that's a fucking dynamite lineup.
It's going to be a
first of
really
all.
good show.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
So what's the date on that?
March 17th. It is St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. And just get a hold of Shane Ogden for tickets.
Yeah. That's how
Beautiful.
he's doing it.
Shane will deliver them right to your fucking door.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's why I wanted to set you up for that plug. Now that you're going to get in with Shane, right? You do a good job there. Hopefully, he gets you on Chuckles.
That's my thoughts exactly.
Yeah. Have you been out to Chuckles to see a bunch of shows
I have.
there?
I've been out to Chuckles to see a few shows. Yeah.
Nice. Who did you see?
I
there?
love it. I went out one night. Kim was performing. We were in the class and Kim was performing.
Right.
And I don't remember his name. Fell off Ontario. But I can't remember. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I know. Matt Richardson, I believe, was on that show.
Right. Another great comic.
Great comic.
Fuck yeah.
Great comic.
Yeah. Another sweetheart.
The only person I've ever seen hold the mic at waist level,
Yeah.
and it still picks it up.
I know, right? Yeah, it's weird. And he doesn't really project very much, but
Not really.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's getting it right through the diaphragm or what, but he's it's making it into the microphone.
yeah.
But yeah, killer comic.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, so I was out there for that, and then a friend and I went and saw. This was a while back. Shit, why is his name escaping me? He's coming back. You're opening for him in March.
Oh, Damber.
Mike
Mike
Went and
Damber.
saw Mike Damber,
Yeah.
and you were on that show.
Right.
And that was the first time I'd seen either. And that was at the Grand Bay Golf Course.
Oh, that was Mike's first gig here
Yeah.
in town. Yeah.
And he threw all his material out the window and picked on the crowd for half an hour.
Yeah. Well, that's all he
And
does.
That was is that standard for him?
That's what Mike
Okay,
does.
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
So Mike, what he does is he's got let's say 4 or 5 bits that are basically stories that he'll intersperse, but he's just crowd work comic. He does that every show, which is so difficult. When I started working with him, I looked him up and I was like, well, let's see what kind of caliber I'm working with here. And I saw the video. I'm like, I'll have no problem fucking hanging with this guy, right? Wasn't that impressed. And then you see him do it live, and it's like, oh my god. So we did that show. That was a Thursday night
Yes, that's
at
right.
Grand Bay.
That's right.
So then we did Friday night, and then we did 2 shows Saturday.
Okay.
And it's a brand new hour each and every
Every time.
time. It's fucking hilarious every single time. I mean, Mike is a fucking master, and he started that way.
That's crazy.
He
It's
started
such a
doing
different-
crowd work.
It's such a foreign skill to me.
Well, you know what the great thing is? You can't rip him off.
No, never.
And if he says something funny to a crowd member, you could write it down, and you can do it the next night. Probably not going to work for
It's
you, but
probably
you
not
could
gonna
do
work.
it.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it.
Right.
He's not doing that
He
tomorrow.
doesn't give a shit.
Right? He's fucking brilliant, man. He is brilliant. I cannot wait. And you talk about, I love comedy, man. This comedy community here is so full of great people.
It really is.
Mike Damber might be the nicest fucking comic I've
Really?
ever met in my life, man. We fucking, that Thursday night, we connected like this. I'm his daughter's godfather,
No way.
right?
That's wild.
And he's a fucking fantastic human being. And it's funny because in my experience, I've opened for a lot of headliners from this country, and my experience is the great killers, the killer headliners are always the nicest fucking people. And the ones I don't care for on stage, I don't care for them
care
off
for a
stage
person.
either. Except Jason Rouse. He's a killer on stage.
That's the exception.
But he's a cocky asshole. And he should be. He's working with Dice Clay.
True enough.
He should have that attitude. He's living in Hollywood. Good for him.
True enough.
But he's a little standoffy off
Yeah.
stage. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty incredible that Cal Post wanted to come down to After Dark.
I did too, man.
That's someone that strikes me as being a comedy fan and somebody who's
He's a
interested
comics comic.
He's a comics comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his
He wants to
material
be a
was
part of
great.
it. Yeah.
What I loved about it, he's not, he doesn't project. He's not loud. He's not hitting you with like these giant heavyweight punches, but he's just so funny throughout. Like it's his personality, right? Cal's getting Cal
Yep.
on stage.
And it's another guy who's super
It's
likable
impressive.
too, right? He's got a little bit of that
Absolutely.
fame magic. Yeah.
Yeah. When I first saw him, I'm like, who is this fucking little hipster doofus fucking guy with his Chelsea boots and what are we doing here?
Yeah.
He was fucking great, man. And a super nice guy.
Definitely.
He's headlining this week, right? At Yucks?
I don't know.
Because I think Steve told me he was in
is he
town a
back
week
again?
early.
Okay.
So I think he's this week. I'm definitely going to go Thursday night and check
That was
him out.
2 weeks ago, I think, when he was here.
Yeah.
Before.
So
Okay.
so it wasn't yesterday, Sunday. It was the Sunday before. Right. So it wasn't last week he was the headliner. It's going to be this week, I believe.
Okay.
I believe. Well, look it up.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm definitely going to go and support him, man, because he came down and supported us.
Well, that's just the
That
thing.
was fucking cool, man.
I almost fell over when I saw Steve walk through the door. I thought,
So
what
did I.
in the hell?
Yes.
Just imagine the conversation too. Cal's like, "Take me to the open mic." It's like, well, Cal, they don't really take me to the open mic.
Yeah.
I don't really know if I want.
I think Steve is starting to, here's what I'll say. I'm going to be, I don't think I've ever talked about this in the podcast. When Steve was starting out, he did 4 or 5 of these on tour, Yucks on tour shows that he purchased and he put on at the Trade and Convention Center. And when those shows happen, if you call Yucks, you could call Yucks tomorrow and get an on tour show.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay.
All you need is the money.
Right.
Right? You pay the money and they give you a show. Right?
With their brand attached to it.
That's it. They tell
Okay.
you, these are your performers, this is your show, this is the night,
Fuck, it's not a bad
whatever,
deal,
right?
yeah.
And I think a lot of comics in the beginning, a lot of the locals were upset that they weren't getting put on those shows.
Sure.
But then to come to find out later, you're just buying a show.
Right.
Right?
It's not an option.
No one's going, well, grab a local guy and put him on. That doesn't happen. But the thing is, so when he started his club, people were already a little pulled back, going, hey, well, he didn't fucking book me, right? And of course, he booked Mollinger and excuse me, and Jimmy McKinley as well. So the appearance of Jimmy McKinley kind of people thought that they were picking and choosing local people, but they weren't. Jimmy's been a friend of Yucks, and that's just the way it goes.
Okay.
But so the comics weren't all with Steve when he started, but the people that were with Steve were James Mollinger and Mark Burnett from Comedy with Balls,
Right.
and they were helping him. So from Steve's perspective, he's like, well, I got this big promoter, Mark Burnett here, and I got James Mollinger on my side, and anybody who's, fighting against those guys or whatever, fuck those people,
Right.
So it kind of put up a wall, and I think Steve is starting to get over that wall now.
It really feels like he and the club are sort of coming into the culture with the rest of us.
Yeah. And I think what we have to do as comics to complete that transition is we all have to go out and support his show.
Absolutely.
And I've been saying that since the beginning. I've only worked Yucks twice. Now, as a very consistent local comic, I should be on a lot of those fucking shows. Right? I deserve to be. Not should be, but I can be. I'm the caliber that can be.
There's no
but
reason you shouldn't be middling.
Right. But I can't get upset about, not getting booked there. I don't fucking go there.
Right.
I don't go and hang out. If I was there supporting him all the time, I would expect support back, right? But I think to complete that transition, and if any local comics are listening, I think we should go out and support his shows more often.
100%. Yep.
Because honestly, if he fails here, if that Yucks fails here, comedy fails here. In the eyes of the people in this city,
right.
it's going to be very difficult to get anybody out to any of our shows if that happens. That's what happened in Moncton. Moncton's a black
really?
fucking hole of comedy, and it's because they had a Yucks and it failed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I noticed there wasn't much going on in Moncton for comedy. It's coming back a little bit.
Starting to.
Hell's Basement, Marty
Yeah.
B's doing his best with some open mics, and
Yeah.
they didn't have the hubcap, of course, but yeah. So that's what that's about.
That's what that's about,
It's a failed Yucks.
Yeah, and it's happening right now. It just happened in St. John's, Newfoundland, right? They lost their Yucks,
No,
and now comedy's fucking gone there. right? So I think if we want to keep just the shit we have going
Yeah,
here,
no, exactly.
I think it's important to go and support Yucks, you know. For me, I had a little personal beef with Steve in the beginning.
Okay.
He was advertising on the radio while I was on the radio, and my shows were getting pumped on the radio, no matter where I was. If it was a Shane Ogden show, John Ford show, the DJs were talking about my shows because, you know, I was part of the family.
Right.
And he raised a stink about it, almost got my friend Joe in trouble. And, you know, Steve and I had a little come to Jesus meeting about that, which was stupid because his side was all business. Mine was all personal.
Right.
And it was just, I was being a fucking idiot. My ego was so fucking big back then, Chris. It was ridiculous. The worst thing that can happen to a guy who already has an ego in comedy is to get a little bit of exposure in comedy. Start doing a little well in comedy. My ego was off to the fucking races, man. And it took me getting physically sick. I had this respiratory problem.
Oh, really?
It took me getting physically sick like that to make me realize it. I really started to reflect on it and go, what am I doing? You know, I'm acting like the stakes are like Hollywood here, and it's fucking nothing. You know?
But it's hard because we do put effort and we put time into these local shows, as small as some of them are.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when you feel like you're being stepped on or pushed out of the way, it's hard not to get your back up about it, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm an aggressive guy. I enjoy confrontation.
Sure.
Right? So, but truth be told, I was kind of out of line in that deal, right? But I certainly forgive Steve. I like Steve. You know,
every interaction I've had with him so far has been positive.
Yeah.
And
I know he's done some shitty stuff. You know, he's done some shitty stuff, but
it is,
he's human.
It's like you said, it is business.
It's business, man.
It's tough because, I mean, like I said, we put our souls into it, right?
Yeah.
So we get emotional about it as performers and
It's
organizers.
personal for us.
It's personal for us.
It couldn't be more personal, Chris.
Right.
Like, you're sitting at home, you're writing down what you think is funny, right? And you take it to the stage. I mean, you're so invested
That's right.
in your comedy, right? It's hard to see outside of those fucking lines. No. It is. It's a difficult thing. I still struggle with it. You know, I had that big revelation when I was sick, but I still struggle with it.
Sure.
Yeah, all the time.
And I mean, I know John and Steve had a bit of a, or John and Yucks or whatever, had a bit of a stutter step. And again, John puts everything into making the R-Bar go.
Yeah.
And making the O'Leary shows go. And, you know, it's hard, right? To have something come in like that. But, I mean, he did a guest spot there, so that's good.
Yeah.
For the community. And, I did one Friday. Steve's been handing them out. He's been better about getting
You did
people
one
on
this
stage.
past Friday?
I did the one this past
That's
Friday.
why you weren't at my show.
That is why.
That's all
I
making
know.
sense now.
Yeah, I apologize.
Oh, don't apologize at all, man. You got
Well,
stage
no,
time.
it was-
Don't come to my show.
But
Absolutely.
you know, it's like I say, I'm still not sure that's the path.
Yeah.
Overall,
But you know what it is? It's a stage right now.
It's a stage, and I did want to check it off the list because it's something I didn't have a chance to do yet.
Right.
Was a guest spot there.
Yeah.
I've done a couple amateur nights, but I hadn't really gotten over that hurdle yet.
How'd you do?
I did well.
Nice.
Yeah, it went well.
Yeah. You're very consistent, man. I've never seen you do poorly. You know, at Laughter Dark.
Yeah.
That was a weird, stingy crowd, right? No one was getting way over, right? Nobody was getting way over.
No, that's right.
It's very difficult to kill in that venue. Very difficult.
Even that show went okay.
Yeah.
It was, you know.
It was certainly not a bomb at all.
6 out of 10 or so.
You had your head hanging down a little after that show. And I was
Little
like, dude, you did fine.
A little bit. I'll hold myself to a relatively high standard, right? I'm trying to, because that's the way to keep doing. And I know Sam does the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I do think that's, you know, how to keep bringing it and keep, you know, yourself consistent and keep writing better and better stuff.
It's funny because, you know, I always say, take it easy, you know, because the stakes are so low around here.
It's true.
Right? It's an easy thing to fucking say on a microphone. But if I bombed, I'd be beating the shit out of myself.
Yeah, it's hard not
you know
to.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
You do need to shake it off, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But acknowledge that it didn't go well and think about why it didn't go well and try to improve.
Yeah.
I did have one show. It was probably the worst I've had. It was a Wilson's Room show.
Right.
And there was a band coming on after the open mic.
Yeah.
So it had to end when it had to end.
Right.
Whatever it was, 10:30 or I don't remember the time, but
Sure.
So Phil was running around telling everybody it was 5 minutes. That'd be 5 minutes. You get 5. You get 5. You get 5. You get 5.
Yeah.
And then a couple guys did 7, 8, 12, and so he was
Stretch the show.
right.
Yeah.
So instead of everyone getting 5 to 7, now he was coming. I need you
Tight 5.
to do tight 5.
Yeah.
And I panicked, cut a big chunk off my material, did 3.5 lukewarm minutes, and got out of there.
Yeah.
So That's probably the worst of it. It wasn't a real hard bomb.
Yeah.
I got some laughs, but it certainly wasn't a good show.
Wasn't what you expected.
To drive to Fredericton on a Thursday night for 3.5 minutes of stage time wasn't exactly my favorite either. But,
I know. It's tough, man. The fucking road gigs. That's why I quit comedy for a year. I was just sick of traveling. There was nothing here. I was sick of traveling. Because when I started, man, there was literally nothing here. I had to drive to Halifax Yuck for their amateur night.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Driving a 9-hour round trip to do 5 minutes of terrible unpaid comedy. That was a tough fucking. I did that for 5 weeks running.
Yeah.
And I was all proud bringing new material there every time.
Yeah.
You know, and looking back at it now, it's like, fuck, I can't even believe I did that. But when you first get into comedy, man, you will do fucking anything for comedy.
You want to be up there so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How far have you traveled? What's your longest away gig? Was it Bathurst? Have you done that? Did you do that Bathurst deal?
I didn't. Fredericton's it right now. Actually,
That's it.
Now that I think about it, I've done a few shows there, but that was it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other than Halifax, really. Well, I guess Miramichi. Now,
yeah,
Joe's
got some
shit
stuff.
up there.
I don't know if the Vogue's moving forward or not.
Vogue's not.
Vogue's not. Okay.
He's got another venue though.
Does he?
Yeah.
Awesome.
For his big shows, he's got another venue. I think it's a theater in a school.
Okay.
But I think he's got booze going there. But he's also doing an open mic up there too. At
Yeah.
a bar.
Yeah. I haven't made it. He wanted me to come up for that, and it was a Wednesday night. I just couldn't hack it.
That's tough, man. It's tough to drive that fucking far for an open mic. You know.
Yeah, it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
So,
I love what Joe's
6
trying to
hours
do
round
up
trip,
there.
Sure, and
Yeah.
I love Joe. Joe's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
And God bless him. He's in St. John, Fredericton. He's running around all the time.
Yeah, man. He travels a lot for it.
Yeah, he's willing to work for it.
Yeah.
And
you got to be right.
he's a good comic too.
Yeah.
But when you're up in a spot where there's not a lot going on, you've got to do everything you can, right?
Yeah.
Make it happen for yourself, and
It's
and
weird.
Go find
A
it.
lot of comics from Miramichi. You know, Jimmy McKinley.
I think it's a funny
fucking
place.
Corey Hartland.
It's got to be a
Matt Richardson.
It's got to be a coping mechanism.
It's got to be.
That place is.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
dead there.
It's beautiful, but there's not a lot going on.
No, it's fucking dead there, man. That Vogue Theater, it's too bad that he lost that venue or walked away from it or whatever happened, because that was fucking dynamite, man.
Yeah,
God, that was a great venue. I did that New Year's Eve. Fucking loved every second of it. But I think a lot of me loving it was because of Joe. Like, Joe put on a fucking great show. Like, I showed up there. I was taken care of. Everything was taken care of.
That's awesome.
I didn't worry about sound or fucking just, here's the green room. Here's the free beer. You're on it this time. Away you go. The sound worked fucking perfect. Everything was perfect.
Yep.
You know, it was fucking beautiful.
I found Matt's recording was that way. He had everything organized just so.
Yeah, it was smooth, man. That was a smooth show.
That venue is it's a great little venue.
Yeah.
Little tricky in terms of getting comics onto and off of stage sometimes. With the
A
stairs
little
and
bit
everything.
with the stairs. It's a little bit weird.
Depending on how you do it.
Yeah.
But it's a good little venue.
I'd love to see that venue packed where you've got seats upstairs too.
Yeah.
Like, I'd
Oh,
love
man.
to see that place fucking full.
That'd be
you
unreal.
know.
Yeah.
I what I loved about that show when Thane Fox was introducing you, and he said, "Our next fat funny man."
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why Matt put it together that way, but that's how it laid out.
Yeah, that was great, man. Fucking Thane's a great kid. I got to get Thane on this fucking podcast.
Great
guy.
He'd be endlessly entertaining on.
Oh,
TV.
absolutely. Yeah, he's a funny motherfucker, man. I love that guy. What's your like? How did you grow up, man? Like, what was your family like? It was a tight family.
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty tight.
Good family, like good upbringing.
Yeah.
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 But really-
Parents loved the shit out of you.
Really, yeah.
Are your parents funny?
Dad's
funny.
Dad's funny intentionally.
Right.
Mom's funny unintentionally.
Nice.
She's just every now and then something will come out of her that's hilarious. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, it was great.
Bunch of brothers and sisters. What do you got?
Just one sister.
One
she's,
sister?
She's a couple years younger than I am.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so
she
you were
she comes
ruling-
out to shows.
You were
and stuff.
ruling the fucking roost then.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. They get powerful around the teenage years. They get,
Yeah. I know.
That attitude can move mountains.
It sure can, man. I've got a daughter. I got a 20-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And she turned her back on me completely when she was 17 for like 2.5 years. Never fucking heard
That's
from
gotta
her.
be really hard.
Yeah. They get crazy.
Yeah.
They get crazy. And I happened to be working with a woman who told me my daughter didn't talk to me for 4 years. You know, and that was a different scenario. I didn't raise my daughter, right? I was out west. And this girl raised her daughter and said she fucking turned on me
That's
for 4
wild,
years, moved
yeah.
out, went fucking crazy.
They got it in them though.
I know.
It's crazy.
Crazy. Scary.
boys they'll break things and they'll get into trouble. And
Yeah, the cops will bring the boys.
Sure.
home. Yeah.
But
they won't terrorize the entire
they'll
household.
be all right. And they won't break you down mentally. They won't. Yeah. Mom's there for a few years there. Things were touch and go. But no, I mean it was good. We were fairly tight and
yeah, no problems.
Not really.
I'm just trying to
really.
think
Yeah,
about.
okay.
I'm trying to get to where your struggle comes from,
Right.
because all comics go through some kind of struggle, which
Right.
usually creates
Okay.
that deal. Right?
Yeah. So home life was fine. I mean, it's the same with everybody. At the time, you think it's the worst thing in the world because you're fighting over something stupid, right?
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's,
sure.
It's not.
Right.
Home life was pretty good. Grew up a pretty straight-laced kid. Didn't get into drinking and drugs trouble a whole lot
Right.
as a teenager. I did go the one time I went to a buddy's house when I was 16, and we started drinking immediately when I showed up. And I was supposed to go home, and I thought I could get them to let me stay the night.
Sure.
Not happening.
Oh,
They came to pick me up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like top 3 drunks of my I got in the car and went home and went to bed and thought I got away with it. And woke up, Sunday morning, everyone's in the living room watching TLC or whatever.
Right.
And I'm in the bathroom puking my guts out trying to think of an excuse for why I'm
Sure, I got the flu.
Yeah, I got nailed to the wall for that one. But I guess, I grew up heavy, right? So you catch a little bit of teasing.
Bullies.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing real bad. Look, again,
Nothing sent you home crying every day for a fucking year.
Looking back on it, it was mostly playful teasing, but you learned to fire back, right?
Yeah.
So now it's a back and forth.
Yeah.
And just I don't know. I didn't excel at a whole lot, right? C and B student.
Right.
Wasn't killer at sports.
Yeah.
Didn't really play any musical instruments. Can't sing.
Yeah.
So in order to stand out at all, and just to keep from being super boring, I guess
You got to be funny.
got funny.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's interesting then. Yeah, I mean, I grew up with my old man, and, he was a drunk, but not abusive. Like, all my memories of my childhood are very fond, right? Because I was free. I did whatever the fuck I wanted, Now, looking back, it probably wasn't the greatest way to grow up, but for me it was.
You came out of it okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Things
yeah.
were all right.
But never really. I mean, I never really had like bad struggles that way either. That's why I always ask people, right? Like, was there because you hear it on podcasts, you hear
all the time.
comics talking, right? Like my stepdad was abusive or whatever the case may be, and I didn't really ever experience that either.
Yeah.
I never had tough trials and tribulations. Then again, ever since I can remember, Chris, I've never really taken anything serious. Any problem that's come up in my life, I've been able, I don't take it that serious. I don't get too, upset about it, right? So, yeah, but I'm always interested to what fucking drives
Well,
a guy
I had,
like,
again, I didn't have anything to complain about, but when you're in it, you don't realize that, right?
Yeah,
you realize
right.
that upon looking back. So, a little bit of a sensitive kid, some anxiety and stuff. So, small things would happen that seemed like the end of the world. So, sometimes it felt, to me, I was going through the emotions of someone who's having a struggle.
Sure.
When, again, looking back, I go,
No real trauma.
you're being a shithead, right? Like,
Yeah.
everything's fine.
This is nothing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But, so I think that, like I said, has something to do with it.
Yeah.
But,
Where did you grow up? East side, west?
West side.
West. Oh, you're on west side.
Yeah, Galt Road out toward Grand Bay.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's not bad. You're not lower west.
No, not lower west.
Yeah.
No,
I don't care for those lower west.
Stay it
fellas.
out of there.
Yeah,
There's,
that's a bad area.
yeah.
Yeah, man, I'd like to see you on the Chuckle stage.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll do well with this Shane show and make my way there. You were saying about people that would come out there, they were bringers and they'd take right off. And
and then fall right off.
I didn't have the take off in terms of getting booked for big stuff.
Right.
Did a lot of open mics and stuff. Got booked for a lot of shows, but they were small level shows.
Open mics, yeah.
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 Now I'm starting to see, like Matt's show and this Dennis thing.
Your
and
consistency
now
is
this
starting to
show
pay
with-
off a
with
little.
Shane. I feel like I've earned it though. I've come
Yeah.
through. I've 8-9 months of comedy. I've proven myself, and now things are starting to pick up.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Well, the nice thing is not only are you starting you're consistent in comedy in your performance, right? But you're also consistent in you're bringing 6 people.
Yeah.
6 people
that's
are going to
about
come
right.
out, man.
Yeah.
And some shows, 6 people, like we talked about that High Tide Comedy Festival show, 6 people would have made the show.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Those 6 people that were going to come out for you would have made that fucking show.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Were you on is that all the locals did on that festival? Was that one show?
No, there were a couple of them.
Oh, there was a roast show.
There was
too.
one. There was a roast show, and there was
Yeah.
something called the Rate Good local comedy showcase
Right.
or something.
Isn't that the one you were on? Was the rate?
No, this was the they just called it the open mic.
Where what venue was that at?
It was at the billiards,
It was at the billiards too.
and it was I want to say it was the last show of the festival.
Okay, all right. So you and I were talking about 2 different shows. I was talking originally about the Rate Good comedy show.
Okay.
I thought that's what you were talking
No,
about.
I don't know how that went.
Yeah.
I didn't get in for that.
I heard that
whatever
went
was about.
horrible for
I don't
everybody.
know. Shand
Yeah.
was in that. I want to say Travis did that. I want to say Matt did that.
Right. Now Shan came up in your class, right?
Yeah, Shand was.
So Shan came up in your class. You, John Scove Nielsen, and Dan Terrio. Those are the 4 that are.
Those are the
still
4
doing
that
it.
are active.
Yeah.
That said, Tammy Turner did another set Saturday night.
Oh, is that right? At our
At the
bar?
R Bar.
How'd she do?
And did well.
Nice.
It was a good set for her.
Yeah, right. So she
Good
did the
set.
one in June, and then just did this one.
She went quiet.
So
for-
what's her plan now?
I don't know. I didn't get a chance to talk to her after the show. I don't know where she's
Yeah.
going with it. I'd like to see her do it. I mean, people respond to her.
Yeah. So let me ask you, before you were going into this course, so now you've signed up for Ken's course.
Yeah.
Did you have material going in?
No.
Like, had you been writing anything at all?
Well,
before
okay.
going in?
Yeah, yes and no. I would find myself telling a story the same way over and over again,
Right.
and sort of massaging it and taking parts out and
Making it better.
making it better.
Yeah. Okay.
And I kind of had the revelation, like, I'm doing bits.
yeah.
Like, I'm doing bits. Like, I go to a party, and I'd find myself with a few people around me telling a story. And
Yeah.
I'm realizing now, like, shit, this is a bit.
And you had been editing that story.
Yeah. Not adding falsities to it, but
Right,
sort
right.
of
Making it better.
changing how I'm delivering it and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And I realized, crap, I'm doing bits. So I went into it knowing I wanted to do a bit about the moped, because
Yeah.
that was something people always found hilarious
Love
about
that
me.
story, yeah.
They love that story. So I had that kind of in my head, something I wanted to do. So my first set, I did the bit about the friend wanting me to run the beer run with him,
Right.
and then about my mom finding a condom in the dryer while I still lived at home,
Yeah.
and then the moped story.
Right.
And the bit, the truth behind the condom in the dryer story, she did find one of my unopened condoms in the dryer,
Right.
and it was mine.
Yeah.
I punched it up for the stage because we're allowed to do that,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
But that happened while I was taking the course.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, how fortunate.
So, and
Oh, that's fantastic.
I don't know if you've talked to people about the course, but the way Ken ran it, I worry when people hear I did the course, they're thinking like, come learn to be funny with Ken Bolton, which
Mm-hmm. I
really,
know, there's a stigma to it.
which really isn't it.
Yeah.
It's come and share your stuff, and if you're funny, we're going to get you to a place where you've got a set. And
Right.
If you're not, there's only so much we can do for you.
And there's some pointers, right? There's
Yeah,
some things that you
100%.
can tell people
100%.
what to expect a little bit, you know.
Yep.
You can share a bit of the craft. There's no doubt about
It's
it.
time spent with an experienced comic.
Right.
And a place to practice, right?
Yeah.
But he would give us assignments. So there was one week where he said, write something about something that's in the news.
Right.
Have 5 minutes when you come back to class next week.
Yeah.
We're like, shit.
Oh, shit. That's almost like the joke writing contest.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So that happened to be the week that Mr. Grabber from Nova Scotia was told he couldn't have his license plate anymore.
All right. Yeah.
So I did a few minutes on him.
Right.
And that was the first time. So I went into the class, and I was nervous. I was uncomfortable. I didn't know anybody, of
Yeah.
course. Just super weird situation.
Sure. And this was happening at Ken's house, right?
No, this is at a spot on Prince Edward Street.
Oh, okay.
Through the
All
university.
right. Yeah, I know where it is because I went and did a little guest speaking spot at
Yeah.
Chris's. And okay, so I know
Yeah,
the space
exactly.
you're talking
That's where it
about.
was. So we just sort of talked to the first class, and we wrote some one-liners. And then I came in and I did that bit. And I just sort of stood up and just delivered it. And Ken kind of sat back and said, I'm going to be honest, dude, I didn't expect you to be good at this at all.
No kidding.
He goes, you seem too quiet, you seem too shy, I didn't think you were going to be good at this.
Yeah, right.
So that's a pretty good bit.
Yeah.
You could do that. That's almost ready for the R bar.
Sure.
And then from there we were sort of off to the races, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote the moped stuff, I wrote the condom bit, and then same thing during the course. This guy had asked me to do I think it was after the course, he'd asked me to do the run with him. Mm-hmm. So I wrote that bit, and then I had my time, right?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really
So
nice.
you went into that first show with really a lot of material.
It was
leftover
it
material,
was close
really.
to 8 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, man. But there's always a stigma attached to it, right?
Well, sure.
I mean, we've done a couple roasts around here, and anytime, I book the roast, and I always book Travis on the roast because he's a fucking strong roaster. And but everyone's going to hit that fucking
Yeah, of
course,
course.
right?
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing, Humber College and stuff. Those comics get teased about it a little bit, but there's something to be said for that springboard. Like maybe you wouldn't have got into it.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know
or
if
maybe
I
you
ever
wouldn't
would
have got
have.
into it for another 5 or 6 years, right?
That's the thing. I can't say that I ever would have gotten to it, right?
Yeah.
And now it's it takes up a part of your life, right? It's something that I look forward to and something that I put time into, and
Yeah.
it means a lot to me now.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing is, what I love about Ken is he's pushing you to perform.
Right.
And so once that performance happens, you find out right away, who's the comic and who is not the fucking comic, right? Course or no course, you find out, right? This Tammy broad, she's on the fence. The 3 other ones, they're not comics. You 4 are comics. Right? So you kind of find out.
People respond to it, right? Or
Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I commended Ken for doing the course because it helped this scene. I mean, he's put a lot of fucking comics on these stages. Ken's another guy that doesn't really get a lot of credit, but he's built this fucking scene tremendously.
He's stocking the fish pond, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Takes them
exactly.
and grows them and then dumps them off into the pond to do their own thing. And
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I don't know. Is Chris going to do another course? Have you heard?
I haven't heard, no.
Yeah.
I would say me. I mean, I don't know. She had 4 last time. I think Ken said when we did the 8, we were one of the biggest classes.
You guys were definitely the biggest class.
And we were
by double.
We were an even gender split too, which he wasn't used to.
Oh yeah, that's strange.
And the ages were all over the place.
Yeah. Pregina, I think she's going to do well. I think Stephanie from that course, too. I'm not sure if you've seen her or
I
not.
didn't see her now.
Yeah. She's very good as well.
Okay.
Yeah. But Pregina, she's...
She might have been one of the people that was with Regina at the show now that I think about it.
Could have been. Yeah. Could have been. But yeah, Pregina's got... she's got a fuckload of potential. Going to be interesting to see if she sticks with it.
It's always interesting to see when someone starts out if they're going to be someone that gets into this and stays in
We
this
haven't
or not.
We haven't had a hot female rookie here, right? And no offense to any of the females that are doing it right now, there hasn't been one that's really jumped out, after a few months. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of misogyny in comedy. There is
for whatever reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason. I myself, I hate the feminist stuff, stuff like that, and I don't like it when girls come on stage and that's all they talk about is women, vaginas, stuff like that. I find a lot of women are similar. Having said that, a lot of men are similar too.
100%.
And there's just as many shit male comics as there are female comics per capita. The number's got to be very close to the same. But we need...
Male comics are stubborn, though.
Oh, yeah, I know. They don't give up. They don't give up, man. That's the terrible thing.
They'll keep going up.
Jesus Christ, man. I worked with this guy from Halifax a few times, and he'd been in the game for 10 years. You'd think he'd been doing it for 10 seconds.
No way.
I'm talking fucking horrible, dude. Like, horrible. And he'd do 15 to 20 minutes every time. He'd just fucking steal time. Be the only guy laughing. He'd laugh at every one of his jokes. And the same jokes he told last week and the fucking week before and the week before. And he's laughing at them like he just fucking came up with them. And he's the only one in the room laughing, And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. Funny is fucking funny,
100%.
But we need more female comics around here.
Yeah, we
do.
Bigger
But I hope we get the right ones. I don't want this political correctness fucking bullshit and like, this is my agenda and all that shit. Because there's some of that on this fucking scene too. Not right here, but Atlanta, Canada. There's some of that. We don't need any fucking more of that.
No, that's right. And Pregina's stuff's pretty general.
Man.
She's not.
It's personalized.
Doing that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's personalized, which I love. I don't want you to fucking preach to me up there, particularly in the beginning.
Some comics can go up and they can take a stand.
Yeah.
Chappelle's last special, the one he did at the Comedy Store.
Oh, don't ruin it for me. I
You didn't see
still
it?
have not seen the Bird
Okay,
Revelation.
I won't ruin it.
I don't know why I have yet to watch it,
I won't
but
ruin
I
it.
still
But
haven't watched
I
it.
will say he takes a stand on some things.
Oh, nice.
Right? And
yeah.
that's
Oh, I love that.
That's okay for him to do. He's
Yeah.
got the honestly, he's got the
Here's the
experience
difference.
behind
He's
him.
built his audience, too,
Definitely.
right? And that's why I do it a little bit, not to compare myself to Chappelle, but that's why I'll do it sometimes because I've built that
Right.
a little bit, But but not out of the fucking gate.
Well, it's just
out of the gate. I want to know who you are first.
Right.
Right. I want to know who Chris Hovey is. How do you think? What makes you tick? What's been going on?
Right.
And then once you've won me over, now I want to hear how do you feel about that. You tell me how you feel about that. But don't tell me how you feel about shopping on Senior's Day. Because what a fucking horrible premise.
That's an odd premise.
Oh my god!
I think they gave you that one intentionally because women and minorities would have been too much of a layup for you. That's too solidly into your wheelhouse. What you've been doing lately.
Yeah, and I would have been tempted to probably dip into my material.
It's hard not to do.
Maybe not the material I've already presented, but the shit I've already written that I haven't presented yet.
I've heard that some comics have done that at setlist style shows.
I
before.
heard that too, Brian.
Not necessarily in St. John, but I mean.
Are you going out to the next setlist show?
Yeah, I signed up for it.
Oh, you're on the show.
I don't have any experience improvising. I'm
Fucking
not
right.
expecting anything big, but I think if it's a weakness, instead of hiding from it, why not try it out and maybe grow from it, maybe learn.
Yeah,
Right.
Jamie and I are going to that show.
Work the muscle.
I'm sad I missed the first one, but we'll be there for that one. Are you going to be, if they do another roast battle, are you going to throw your hat in the ring for that?
I might.
Yeah.
I had some fun roasting Drake.
Right.
Were you out for that?
No.
Okay.
When was that?
That was January.
Where?
End of January. It was at McGill's. It was after the setlist show, actually. What had happened was...
This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Oh, really? You didn't know about this at all? Oh.
No, talk to me, baby. What happened? Yeah.
This was interesting. Okay. Well, Dan McCarthy and Brian Godso did a rematch in December
At
McGill's.
Okay. All right. I
They did
missed
a
that one
rematch.
too.
Okay. Brian challenged Dan,
Right.
and Dan allowed it. So
Was it a one-liner deal or was it a roast battle?
no, it was a roast battle.
Okay. All right.
And Dan won again.
Right.
So Drake was all fired up afterwards, and he was taking shots at me.
Okay.
Drake and I have a very combative relationship. Sometimes.
Sure.
It's always getting better.
I think he has that with everybody. to be
Drake and
honest.
I are a very interesting
Dynamic.
thing to talk. Yeah, as a whole. But
Right.
anyways, so he was taking little shots at me and stuff. And
Sure.
I said I shouldn't have said it because I knew what he was going to do as soon as I said it. I said, if you want to pick on me, we should just do the roast battle and do it in front of everybody.
Ooh.
Next thing I know, he was over with Matt setting it up.
Same day.
No.
Oh, okay.
He
setting up and down the road.
Setting up and down the road.
this was in December. Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay,
So it
now I'm
was
following.
January 20th, 21st, I think it was that weekend.
Right.
And yeah, we were set to do the roast battle. So that week, I went and did one of the most awkward episodes of St. John Ford Radio that's ever been recorded.
I actually enjoyed it.
Did you like it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So you know that he called in then?
That's right.
Okay.
And he called in for almost the entire show.
He called in for probably 10 or 12 minutes.
Big
it was,
big
it
portion
was,
of the show.
It was big.
Yeah.
So he called in, and so I was briefly engaged to a terrible woman, and he now works with her.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So he claimed on the show
that he
was
had this
pumping,
fucking dirt. Okay,
had
that's
dirt.
coming back to me now.
So-
right, okay.
What?
I have heard that you
Yeah,
guys were going to roast
okay.
each other. Yes, okay. I'm not entirely out of the loop.
Right. So
Right.
he said he had this dirt, and it bothered me, not because I thought he got anything from her,
Yeah.
because I couldn't even fathom what she would have told him anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been open about the whole thing.
I mean, unless you have a micro penis to hide.
I'm not hiding
You know?
it,
Yeah,
Mark. I'm not. It's no use hiding it. People are gonna find out.
You can't hide it forever.
You can't hide it forever.
Yeah.
So
But you knew he had nothing, really.
I didn't think he had anything. But what bothered me was I could consider Drake and I friends, right?
Sure.
And for him to do that felt like a shitty thing
Yeah.
to do to somebody that you were friends with, right?
Right.
So that's what bothered me about it. So I start writing the meanest shit I can think of, like just real undercut, just hard.
A lot of
hittings.
material there, too, with Drake.
And I'd originally said I'm not going to do material on anything that he hasn't talked about on stage. Because if he talks about it, then he feels comfortable enough to present it.
It's free
then
game.
It's free game.
It's like Dan with his dead dad.
Right.
Right?
And if he's
You
going
gotta
to
go.
talk about it on stage, it's free game, and I can beat him with joke writing.
Yeah.
But I started writing this mean stuff. I went, no, you know what? No. I'm going to go back to my original plan. I'll write clever stuff. I'll do it that way.
Okay.
So,
But you had the mean stuff in your back pocket.
yeah, I
Chris.
wasn't going to use
Yeah,
it though.
okay.
I couldn't have. It was, but anyways. So then a couple days before the show, he reveals that it was just a scare tactic, anyways,
Oh, no kidding. He was full of shit.
and it worked better than he thought it would,
Yeah.
but not in the way he was hoping it would.
Right.
It didn't intimidate me. It just pissed me off, right?
Yeah.
So then, of course, I knew I couldn't use the real nasty stuff, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, and I ended up beating him, but yeah, I had fun doing that one.
Yeah.
So I could see myself doing one in the future.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it would be as easy to write about someone who's not as forthcoming with their skeletons in their closet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Drake's out there.
Drake's out there.
Yeah, he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Definitely.
So you guys did what, three roasts back and forth?
3 each. Yeah.
And you guys were the only battle that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got lucky. My last joke relied on him going first.
Right.
Because I had to go last.
Oh, okay.
Now, I know Joe Butler walked out on Ian.
Yes.
But what I did was a little bit different. I wanted to walk out, but I did it in a different way. I didn't walk out before he could get his joke off. He did his 3, and then my last one, I said I don't normally do impressions, but this is one I called Drake's dad, and I left the bar.
Hey, oh, nice. Yeah, right.
And the best part was he was
That's good, man.
He was
That's good.
screaming after me that it had already been done, which
Right.
kind of, but not quite.
Sure.
So then Dan Terrio reaches over and hands him an envelope, and he opens the envelope, and there's a happy belated birthday card in it. And when he opens it up, it says, "Drake, your disappointment, Dad." Like I had set up this whole.
Yeah,
and
you had the prop set. Yeah.
I got to thank Ben and Matt because he wasn't going to read it. He
Right.
didn't want to, and they made him read it.
Nice.
So I was down at the ale house having a beer, and he finished my roast on him for me.
Oh, dude,
It
that's
was-
beautiful.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. So what, did you go back to get your hand raised to collect your victory?
I waited for the show to end.
Nice.
I waited for the show. I felt if you walk out, you gotta
stay
I
out.
went back to collect my girlfriend and shake hands with Drake, but
Yeah.
I walked. I walked away.
You gotta stay.
stay
You
there.
gotta stay with it, man.
You gotta
'Cause,
stick with it.
Yeah, because Travis made a bit of a mistake when he was roasting Ben because he had a great roast and he dropped the mic. Then he picked it back
Yeah,
up.
I can't pick it up.
You can't pick it
pick it
back
up.
up. You got to keep going with that
Yeah.
character. Yeah.
You gotta hold
Oh,
it.
that's cool, man. I wish I had seen that. Anybody record that? You got that on video?
I think maybe. I think
Yeah.
Dan Terrio might have recorded it. I
Yeah.
think he sent it to me, so I'll send it over.
Yeah. See if you can dig it up. I'd like
got
to
it,
see
yeah.
that. So you're gonna try the set list. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
I'm
the set
thinking
list.
about trying it too. I don't like improv per se. I mean, I like it when something happens when I'm on stage, organic.
Oh, when a tag pops into your head?
When a tag pops into my head, or
that's
something
magic.
happens with the crowd.
Right.
You know, like I know, like Arif and John, and there's a few other comics around here who are seeking crowd work, who are actively trying to try crowd work.
Right.
And I commend them for doing it. I'm not seeking it, but I love it when it happens. I love it when something happens and I can interact with the crowd. I always love that, and I've always done well with that kind of
Well,
thing.
and the crowd loves it.
Except once. What's that?
And the crowd loves it.
The crowd loves it.
It's like, for them, it's a moment that's just for them.
That's why Dambra kills.
Right.
Because Dambra makes them the show.
Yeah. That whole hour is just them.
And that's what people want.
That hour's never gonna
That's
happen
why
again.
people heckle. Because they want to be the fucking
They're looking
show.
for it.
Every night's my big night. You know, I'm here, so focus on me.
Right.
That's why Dambra is so fucking hot, because he brings the whole crowd in on the joke, you know.
You're really opening yourself up to a lot, though, by doing that, right? By making it a participation show.
Oh, yeah.
But, he's also got the chops to handle it.
He's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
Over 30 years. So, yeah, he's got the chops. You're not going to beat Mike Dambra when he's on stage.
No, that's
not
right.
ever. And it's so weird because it's the polar opposite to what he is in real life.
That's wild.
It's so weird because, last time he was in town, I wasn't performing with him. Shane and I had a little beef going on for a little while, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, but Mike was in town, and he's my friend. So I went over to the hotel, hung out with him, did a podcast. And but we were at the counter, and he couldn't get into his room.
Oh,
They
really?
thought he was only there for one night. So they shut his room right down. And they were trying to straighten out at the counter, but the guy wasn't even paying attention to Mike, right? He's on the phone talking to this customer. He's on his cell phone texting. And Mike's just standing there like, and I'm losing my shit. Of
course,
Like, I
yeah.
want to kill this fucking guy.
Right.
And Mike, normally, if that happened on stage, right?
Oh.
In fact, he talked about it later that night on stage and ripped the guy apart. But in person, he was like, fuck, whatever.
He was polite, and he waited. And
Yeah, man. Yeah. Very, very strange. But when he's
Unreal.
up there, you're not going to get Mike fucking Dambra.
No.
Not a chance. Not a chance. I can't wait to do that fucking show.
It's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out for that one for
Yeah.
sure. Cause,
That's the great thing about Dambra, man. You can see him whenever you want, and it's going to be fucking different. Right?
fresh.
That's going to be a good show. I think, who else is on that? Godso's on that, and I think Andrew Vaughn's on that one, too.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen him?
I haven't seen Andrew, no.
Yeah, he's a good comic.
Yeah.
He's a solid comic. Really nice guy, too. Got to get him on the podcast, too. I got to get everybody on the podcast.
You need a list,
Chris.
Mark. You
That's
need a
it,
list.
Yeah. I actually have Drake coming next week.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Drake's it's a strange. He's a strange character, man. He's a guy I didn't like in the beginning. Not so much comedy. Just when I met him, I was like, I don't think he and I are gonna hit it. So I don't really like this guy. And but he won me over. He came out and fucking trained with the heavyweight MMA guy I'm training. Put
Nick.
in rounds with him. Yeah, put in rounds with Nick and stuff. Man, he won my respect. Yeah. What about sport? You watch sports?
That's the right size opponent for Nick, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a man who's who's actually large.
And Drake has legitimate skills, like wrestling skills and stuff.
I heard that. Yeah, that he wrestled in high school.
Very raw on the feet, but a very good student as well. I taught him a few things. He picked them up right away. Started, employing them in combat, which is very difficult to do. What about sports for you? Are you a sports guy?
A little bit. Not a whole lot. I'm a little bit of a bandwagon guy.
Yeah.
I watch the Super Bowl.
Right.
I watch the odd UFC fight. It's hard to keep up on them all.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's hard
I
to
do.
follow it now, man. I mean, it's every weekend. There was
Well,
one
it's
last
happening a
night,
lot.
Sunday night.
Was there?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah. I didn't even watch it.
I catch the big ones when I can.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think Stipe was gonna win over Francis Agnew, but
Man, I didn't know what to think about that fight, man. I couldn't pick a fucking winner in that. I'm glad Stipe won, though. I would have been equally
did he
as
win
glad.
by decision? Was that the?
Pardon me?
He won by decision.
He won by
Was that
decision,
okay.
yeah. Very dominant decision, man.
There's a lot of hype around Agnew.
Yeah, big time.
I mean, it's a great story, right? Everyone loves the rags to riches
Man,
story.
I don't even give a shit about the story. He's from Africa, this, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck.
But the majority
man.
of people,
Yeah,
right?
majority of people do. What
They
I
love that
cared
story.
about is he was knocking people's fucking heads off.
Oh yeah.
Well,
he went.
That's what I cared
he
about.
punched the pad and set the record, didn't he?
Yeah,
There.
that's right. Yeah.
And-
He's got the most powerful
Yeah.
punch in the world.
Well, Stipe took a couple of them and stayed on his feet.
He took
Pretty
a lot of them,
impressive,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took a lot of them. And Stipe can fucking crack. So Ngannou, at least what he proved was, he's even when he's dog tired, he's going to stay in the fight because he was dog tired after the first round. But he also proved that he's got a chin too because he took some fucking shots.
I mean, a ton of potential, right? He's only been at it for a few years, isn't it?
Yeah, very short period of time. Yeah. But now Dana's brought him into the family, and he's training at in Vegas at the Performance
he's only gonna
Institute.
get better.
Yeah, he'll do well, man. Listen, he'll do well anyway because he's making fucking money.
Right.
What about hockey? You never followed hockey in that?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'll go to a Dogs game. I like watching them in person, but I don't follow hockey much. Now, this was a big weekend for me, Mark.
Talk to me.
The Daytona 500 just took place yesterday.
Oh, you're a NASCAR guy.
I mean,
okay, now we're talking.
I grew up in a NASCAR
so
family.
here we go from sports right to car racing.
Yeah,
because...
pretty much. Well, I grew up in a NASCAR family.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's another one I follow as much as I can. But
Sure.
God damn it, it can be dull. It
Yeah.
really can in the middle.
Yeah.
But,
I love the crashes.
well, there were plenty of them yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to watch the big race.
Yeah.
And it's the only sport they eat dessert first. The Super Bowl's the first weekend.
Oh, I
The
see.
Daytona 500 is the biggest race, and it's right off the bat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then they work their way down.
More or less, yeah.
Oh, no
well, I mean,
kidding.
don't get me wrong. The rest of them are big, but instead of having a big, just the way the point system works,
Yeah, right.
the first one's always and it doesn't matter who wins.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter. who wins.
They've had guys who've won that race and never even
Yeah, I
finished
guess
top,
'cause that-
never finished top 10 the rest of their career.
Because that's the start of the season.
That's the start of the season.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
People crash out and cars aren't set up and it's a
Yeah.
mess. But yeah, it was good yesterday. I came from a family that was into it. My grandfather before we had channels here that carried it, he used to pack my dad in the car and drive to Maine, rent a hotel room,
Yeah.
watch the race, and then come home.
No shit.
Just
Nice.
And then they were always at short tracks and stuff on the weekends.
Yeah.
Like, all through
well,
Maine.
see, we had my old man drug me out, at least once a month, during the season, to Hammond River.
Yeah.
There used to be a raceway out there.
Yep.
And I loved it as a fucking kid,
yeah.
man. I absolutely loved going out there. I mean, I was mostly running around the concession stand and
Oh, sure, but
underneath
just
the
cool
bleachers and
atmosphere to
poking
be around,
people
right?
and- yeah, man. To me, it was kind of similar to the Atlantic Grand Prix wrestling that he'd take me to, right?
Right.
And it was just somewhere to go and be and watch. And, when there was a crash, it was like, yeah, everyone's fucking excited. To watch it on TV, I can't fucking do her.
No?
But I didn't grow up watching it on TV
that's right.
and shit like that. And there's no one in my orbit that gives a fuck about it.
Right.
Right.
Well, in our house, it was always we'd watch the start, watch a few laps, change over to something else, right?
Yeah.
Be
Come back for the
milling
finish.
around the house, check out midway through on commercial, whatever, see what was going on. Then
Yeah.
it was like a check-in, check-out kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And then when you come back and watch the last, 50 laps?
Yeah, even
Something
less
like
than
that?
that,
Even
honestly.
less?
Even the last 20 is fine.
Yeah.
Depending how big
Because
the track
if you
is.
missed a crash anyway, they're going to replay it.
No,
ad
they're going to
nauseam.
replay the balls out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it's my one of my best friends, actually. I shouldn't say nobody in my orbit watches it because one of my best friends, the guy I hunt with and stuff,
Yep.
he watches every fucking race. He's right into it. But I don't really hang out with him unless we're in the woods.
Right.
It's not like, I'm going over to his house all the time and it happens to be on or something like that, But yeah, I used to be a big hockey guy, but I don't follow
Not so
it
much
really,
now, eh?
man. Like you said, like there's so many UFCs and I'm a combat sports guy.
Right.
I just don't have enough time for all these sports.
There's nothing more exciting.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah. Now, what are you watching on TV? What's your big shows?
Right now?
What are you binging right now?
I'm mowing through Bob's Burgers right now.
Dude, fucking bring it in.
That's a great
Bring it in
show.
for a fist bump.
It's
Man,
a
it
great
may be
show.
one of the best shows in history.
It's what I like about it is it's not as it's not as radical as a Family Guy or South Park, whatever, all the time. It's a pretty
very
mild
muted.
show, but God, is it ever clever sometimes?
Oh, it's hilarious, man.
It sneaks up on you. It's really good. Yeah, I've been mowing through that pretty hard.
Yeah, so have I. I've seen everything on Netflix now. I'm kind of going through cherry picking like what I'm watching twice. Wifey and I just went on the Teledroid and watched the newest season.
Okay.
Up to wherever it is. What's very interesting about this, I'm a huge fan of cartoons, right? Cartoons raised me, right? Yeah. And they're my favorite shows. I actually don't watch too many real life shows,
Okay.
But I always avoided Bob's Burgers. I don't know why. Just the concept of it. I saw the kid with the rabbit ears. There's a guy making burgers. I don't know. I always passed on it, which is weird because I love cartoons. Yeah. But the strange thing about it that I noticed, because I've been consuming cartoons forever, there's no main character.
There really isn't.
There's no main, it's named after Bob, right? It's Bob's Burgers, but he's not the main character.
It's just the name of the restaurant, though, right?
Gene is just as important and just as funny.
Absolutely.
And gets just as much play as Bob does, and Linda too.
Yeah. Well, there's always multiple storylines per
Yeah.
episode, and everyone's, like you say, is a player.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's got their own thing going on.
Tina
I've
might
really
be
been
my
enjoying
favorite.
it. Oh, she's a riot.
She might be my favorite. When Tina, because I love Jimmy Pesto Jr.
Yeah.
I love that kid. I love regular size Rudy. Like the kids at school are fucking
they're
fantastic.
brilliant. Yeah.
It's similar to Simpsons in that way with like Ralph Wiggum and
Right.
The bullies and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's a level up from that even. And but to watch Tina run with her arms at her side, it's like my favorite thing to see on that fucking cartoon, man. What a great show.
Oh, it's killer. I mean, the writing and, like you say, the animation, like to animate her with her arms down.
Yeah.
Running.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It
right?
is brilliant.
It's really well done.
I love it that you're watching that, and I hope now that it's on Netflix, a lot of people are, and I hope it continues to be successful. I was really surprised when I learned yesterday that it only came out. It started in 2011.
I didn't know it was that recent.
I didn't either. I thought it started in 2004, 5, somewhere like that, right? Great fucking show. Do you watch BoJack? Have you watched?
I haven't. No.
Go through.
Is
that.
it good?
Yeah. If you're a cartoon lover, there's.
Yeah, I'm getting into them. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons.
Oh,
my mother had a few hard rules. There was no Simpsons.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to watch boxing. Dad used to sneak me boxing when she was out. Sometimes
nice.
we'd watch some boxing or something.
That's a good dad.
Before UFC, right? I was
Sure.
just a kid, and we weren't allowed to watch Rugrats for some reason.
No Rugrats.
No.
Isn't that interesting?
Nope. Wouldn't allow it. That was off limits.
Right.
Everything else is pretty much good.
Yeah.
We ended up watching a lot of sitcoms.
Yeah.
So I ended up being
That's
kind
good,
of a
though.
sitcom guy.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't it. Yeah, I mean it's influenced.
Absolutely.
My
It shaped
comedy
your
moving
comedy,
forward,
man. Yeah, it shaped my comedy too. What were you watching for sitcoms growing up then?
I mean Friends was always on.
Yeah.
Seinfeld was
I'm
on.
talking about like sitcoms though.
Yeah.
Sorry, Friends was fucking
We can't ignore the cultural impact.
Yeah,
of
no,
Friends.
that's true. Big time. Big time.
Seinfeld was on, but I didn't get it at the time.
You didn't get it.
Not then. Now I do.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
As a teenager and getting older, I do, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, right.
But for a while, it just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, Kramer's funny for everybody, right?
Sure.
He, blows in through the door.
Physical
or whatever.
comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
There were a couple weird ones. There was one called Yesteryear that was on for a while.
Yesteryear?
Yesteryear.
Oh,
on
Yesteryear.
for a while.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing a
Yeah,
commercial
we used to
for
watch
something
that.
like that. Yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
no, I'm getting into
Cartoons.
cartoons now as an adult,
Yeah.
and I'm really enjoying them.
Yeah. Try Mike Tyson Mysteries too.
I've seen some of Mike Tyson mysteries.
Yeah,
I love
Norm
Mike Tyson
Macdonald
mysteries.
as the pigeon.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
good, man.
And they're short. They just
Yeah.
kind of blow by.
Yeah.
They're super.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can binge the entire fucking show in an afternoon,
Yeah.
really. Yeah. Watch BoJack. BoJack is interesting because there is a lot of comedy, even as Will Arnett, right?
Right.
There is a lot of comedy, but there's a lot of tragedy too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dark, especially like the last 2 seasons. A lot of darkness.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't when you see the trailers for whatever, you just see this guy's got a horse head. You don't really.
Yeah.
I didn't really think of it that, but I guess once you kind of get past those initial jokes,
yeah,
it's just like anything else.
Yeah,
right?
because the trailer, it's fuck. They try to put the funniest stuff in there and try to draw you in, but it's nothing like the trailer.
There's a lot more going on.
Yeah, check it out. You check out 3 or 4 episodes. If it doesn't drag you in, you're not gonna like it. It's not for everybody, but it's fucking dynamite. What about F is for Family, Bill Burr show?
I've watched a few episodes of that. I've meaning to get back into that one. Yeah, Bob's Burgers kind of pulled me.
Oh, Bob's
Burgers
but so good.
I need to get into because I liked the episodes I did see.
Yeah,
but Bill Burr's.
Oh, he's a genius. But that's a funny show because I don't think it's hitting yet. Like I love it, right? I'm gonna love everything, and Bill Burr does.
Sure.
But I don't think it's. I think it's gonna be obviously way better once it hit its stride. I think it's struggling still to hit its stride a little bit. Yeah, even though I love it.
Sure.
I fucking.
But you're also who it's for directly,
man.
right? You grew up in that time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're a fan of Bill's in the first place.
I'm a huge fan of Burr. Yeah. I'm a giant Bill Burr fan. No matter what he fucking does. So. Yeah. I didn't see him in Breaking Bad though.
No.
No.
You know what? He was a straight character on Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
He was just a.
Did you watch that whole series?
I watched through Breaking Bad. Yeah. That one was hard to get through for a while. I had to take a break.
Yeah.
After a bit. Yeah.
How come?
Just watch a few episodes of it, and it's so dark that I need something to kind of wash my brain off and not be into something so intense for a little while.
Yeah, man.
But I take a few days off and then go back to it.
That's why it's funny that you mentioned that because that's why I stopped watching it altogether.
Yeah.
It was too emotional.
I almost think some shows are meant to be watched week to week.
Yeah.
I really do.
Rather than binged.
This Is Us is big right now. Mm-hmm. I watched the first episode of that with a girlfriend, and that's the same way.
That's even worse.
It's heavy.
Dude, I don't watch it.
You don't watch it?
I don't watch it, but wifey was watching it one day. I came home from, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but I got home about 7:30 or something at night, and she was already into an episode. There was like 45 minutes left. And at the end of it, I was like, why do you watch this?
It's just a bummer, right?
It's so depressing.
Yeah. Oh. So that's one that I wouldn't even attempt it. That needs a week.
Oh, I guess maybe.
Time. Some shows are meant to be.
Fuck the Kleenex you go through. Jesus Christ.
And I'm a messy crier, Margo.
Are you?
Well, you
got the glasses.
Well, that's it,
so
and they
fog up
just
and
a mess.
Jesus Christ.
Ugly.
What about the laser eye surgery? How come you're not doing this kind of thing?
I thought about it. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I
haven't gotten into it. Did you do it?
Best money I ever spent.
Really
expensive at that time. I think it cost me $3,600.
Okay, it's come down a bit from there, I think.
Yeah, I made monthly payments. Right, I was on a payment plan, so it wasn't too bad.
It's a good way to do it.
But man, I was, again, it comes back. I'm a fucking macho guy. I'm a vain guy. I hated wearing glasses, so I always wore contacts. But I was driving forklift, right?
Right.
So no windshield. The wind's fucking blowing on the contacts and drying my eyes right out. I said, "Fuck it, I got to get this done." And I walked out of the surgery. It was like 6 minutes. And walked out of there. I could see everything.
That sounds awesome.
And as it healed, my eyesight got better and better. Now, that was over 10 years ago. That was a long time ago, man. Maybe 15 years ago. And it's starting to deteriorate now.
Oh, really?
And they said it would, right? Yeah. They said it'll hold up great for 10 years. Then it will start to deteriorate. I may have to get it done again. But, man, I would recommend it. It was the best money I ever spent.
Done again after 10 years, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Geez. And now the recovery time is way less. Back then, they were still cutting the film and folding it back, and it was pretty intense. Like laying there, like when you're getting the surgery is horrifying, right? They lay me down in this bed,
would be.
They lock my head in, right? Like lock it in this vice, and then they grab your eye, and they stretch that right open. Then the suction cup comes down and pops your fucking eyeball right out of your head.
Out of your skull.
It's still attached, but it's pulled way out.
Yeah. It's.
And the other eye's covered.
Yeah.
Right? So the first thing that happened was this drop went in that completely blinded me.
Oh, fun.
And I started screaming, freaking. No one told me this, Chris. Right? I started yelling, I'm blind, Doc. I'm blind. I can't see. And he's like, you're all right. That's normal. I'm like, you could have fucking told me that.
You got to say something. Yeah.
You told me just about everything else. For 3 days I had to come here. And as soon as the eyesight started coming back, Chris, I could see this tiny little pendulum, like the pit in the pendulum. This little fucking sharp pendulum is coming down towards my eyeball. And I'm fucking toes curled like I'm having an orgasm. And this thing just whoop, hits my fucking eye and goes back up. And then I start seeing the laser. It's like green above my eye, red. And I can hear it crackling, first of all, on my eyeball.
Shit.
And you can feel it crackling on your eyeball. Oh, man, it was an intense experience. And that whole time, like, your whole body's just fucking, stressed. And then he goes, oh, you're done. It was like 3 minutes. I'm like, oh, relax, sweet. Okay, now we're going to do the other eye. Oh, my God.
Back through it again.
But, dude, when you walk out of there, you can
I
see
imagine
everything.
It's worth it, yeah.
So they told me that I couldn't wear contacts for like a month leading up to this, or I got to rest my eyes or whatever. So I had this pair of glasses. It was like $700 pair of glasses. I had great benefits at the time. They were basically, you could hardly even tell I had glasses, was the kind of glasses I wanted, right? Yeah. So they're expensive glasses. On my way in, they got this big vase full of glasses. And the nurse says, just throw your glasses in there. I'm like, what are you talking about? These are fucking $700 glasses. Yeah. She's like, yeah, no, you won't need them anymore. Throw them in there. We donate them, right?
Okay.
And I was like,
that's also awesome advertising, right? You come in, they got this big vase of glasses.
Yeah, you won't need them anymore.
That's like when you go to a church and they got the crutches on the walls.
Yes, that's right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, you're healed. And but I set them like kind of on the corner of the vase,
just in case.
As soon as I came walking out of the room, I looked at those glasses and I just give them a little fucking smack into the big pile. And man, it was beautiful. Highly recommended. It was expensive at the time, but now
it's a one-time thing, though.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
The recovery time at that time, because they had to peel that back, was like 6 months to a year.
Oh wow!
Right.
Okay.
So I couldn't, and I was fighting at the time, like training MMA and stuff at the time. No contact, couldn't get punched for a year. Now it's like 30 days or less.
Nice.
Right. So
nice.
it's definitely worth fucking getting. Yeah, a little life advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I mean they're extremely inconvenient. I've worn contacts before for brief periods of time.
Yeah.
But I've got these beady little weasel eyes, and it's hard to get them in.
Yeah.
Especially with my giant sausage fingers.
Sure.
So the combination's not really killer, right?
Yeah.
And so I've just always worn them. I've never really thought about it, but it would be a lot more convenient, especially now with work where I'm going out in the field all the time. I've got to get the safety glasses that go over.
Oh yeah, that's a pain in the fucking ass.
Sometimes they don't have them in the cabinet, so I'm using an old scratched pair or whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot easier to just not have to worry about them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't, and that's what's so amazing is the first morning I woke up. Every day when I wake up before if I didn't leave my contacts in,
right,
I'd wake up and everything's fucking blurry, right?
Yep.
And I woke up that morning, I could see everything.
Yep.
Dude, it was so fucking amazing. First time I ever put contacts in, I was still smoking cigarettes. Didn't wash my hands.
Ooh,
fucking burn, Chris.
I imagine.
Oh, fuck. Let me ask you something. You're at the refinery.
Yeah.
I worked there for a time.
Okay.
The strange thing, I want to know what your experience is. Do you find the fumes affect you?
Not in a way. Okay, for a long time I hadn't thought about it, right?
Right. How long have you been in there now?
I've been there 4.5 years.
Oh, fuck, okay.
It'll be
all
5
right.
years.
5
years in July.
Okay, right.
So I hadn't
so
really
you were
thought
in there
about
when
it.
I was still in there. Yeah, okay.
Probably, yeah. Sounds like it, yeah. Would have just started. And I would have said no for the longest time. But I do find I have a cough now.
You have a cough?
Every now and then. Not all the time. But every now and then I've got almost like a smoker's cough,
like a smoker's cough, and you
don't
smoke.
No, right. But not all the time. It's every now and then. I've been away for 3 or 4 days now, I guess. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
Monday. And now that I think about it, I haven't coughed for the last day or so. You haven't
coughed all weekend. Yeah. See, what happened to me was I get off at 4 every day. I'd get home. I was living out in Goodall Point Road. By 4:30, I'm asleep. I had to sleep every day from 4:30 to 5:30.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I've been carbon monoxide poisoning quite a bit because I drove propane forklifts for a long time.
Sure. Job hazard.
Inside, right? And I've been to the hospital a few times for poisoning. Oh, wow. So I'm pretty sensitive to fumes anyway. But I thought it'd be interesting to ask you if, I had to have a nap every single fucking day without fail.
That's wild.
Weekends, no problem.
And I think it relates to how often you're out there too.
Yeah.
So I went from being out a couple hours a month to being out 2-3 hours a day.
Yeah. Which
still isn't all day. I mean, the guys that are out there scaffolding and doing the actual work are out there all day. Right?
Yeah, man. They're getting fumes.
8, 10, 12 hours.
That A Avenue is she's strong.
It's strong. And sometimes it's obvious like that, right? Sometimes it's just sort of it's a smell that you get used to.
Yeah.
When you think about it. I hadn't been east all weekend. And even just driving through, I had the window down a bit.
Yeah.
And even just coming through that sort of area, I got
you can smell
the smell of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, man, yeah, there's really something.
Yeah, man. It's not good for you in there.
No.
Good money in there.
Long term, it's probably not good for me now.
Yeah. But for now.
For now.
Yeah.
Everyth's for now, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even this podcast is for now.
It's true.
I'm kicking you off.
Okay.
But the great thing is we're just scratching the surface. We'll have you back on.
Sounds great. Love
Thanks
to be
for being
back.
here, Chris.
Thank you.
Appreciate
It's
it.
a good
brother.
show.